smarter, stronger. I forget the next line, but it doesn't matter. Because they will burn like the fire burns.
Oh, that was nice.
That sounded nice.
That was nice.
That hurted.
It was a slurp, too.
I'm going to put another cigarette out on you if you don't fucking chill. Yeah, I just cursed. That's bleeped. That one was bleeped.
That was bleep.
That was a bleeper right
hey,
there.
bleep this one.
No,
I'm about to sit.
No!
Bleep it.
Stop
You got the button on.
cursing.
There you go. There you go. I'm not gonna say anything.
All right. We are C2P.
Are we past the
Welcome
30 seconds yet?
back.
Yeah, I got to move the cursor. Yep, we're past 30 seconds. We
Oh.
are.
Oh, wait.
good.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Oh, wait, yeah, because I'm going to have to trim out that little segment when I stabbed him with the cigarette.
Wait.
It's more like I stabbed myself.
We're definitely past, right?
Look, let me have this. I stabbed you.
You would take a second out, so it would just be like what?
We're definitely past the 30-second mark now.
All
so
right.
F everybody.
No.
Still
Fuck Ukraine. There you go.
Okay. Fuck Ukraine.
I choose them over Russia.
I feel
But-
for the people.
yes.
But fuck
Ukraine.
Fuck Zelensky.
Yeah.
Fuck their government right now. Fuck them being the biggest fucking tax leech next to Israel that we've ever had.
Yeah. But I'm on their side, though.
Only.
I'm on America's side on this one.
Well,
man.
no, I am too. But it's like you.
I want everybody to prosper, but I understand that not everyone will.
Mineral
He's trying to
rights.
play tough guy. He's like, you don't
If,
fucking.
if you see their demographics curve, it's like atrocious. I'll put it on screen if I can find it, but it's like literally you got like ages like all the way up to like 16 and then back up like their population by age. Men.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's literally like it goes up till about 16 and then it
think-
goes back up as it gets way older, like 60.
I think right now the war. Russia has like maybe 500,000, and Ukraine has maybe about 480,000. Yeah. So 500,000 troops of Russia right now, and about maybe 25,000 less. So it'd be 475 to like to 500,000. That's what's going on right now. And at first, the Russians were actually smaller numbers when they pushed to the border to invade. But those numbers have increased. Both numbers have increased steadily. And you can see them dropping a little bit, and increase, and they drop a little bit, and they keep going up. Right now, they're at the peak right now as far as manpower on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, man. Like, he had to come over here and talk all that shit. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You know?
Yeah, that whole White House debacle that happened, like you could see it's like whatever secretary came with him, she was just face palming.
Yeah,
like,
that was the ambassador.
Oh my god.
What was really interesting
I would hate
was
to have her
seeing,
job.
it was so cool to see how the cookies are made right there in front of everybody.
Yeah, Trump's airing out all the dirty laundry, right?
But it wasn't okay. Okay, I will say that Trump was kind of being a dick when he said
master of negotiations.
no. At the very beginning, he goes, "Oh, I see you dressed up today," like that. That was fucked up. But yeah, Zelensky should have fucking worn a fucking suit. He should have worn
That's
a
his
fucking
thing,
suit.
though. Just like Fetterman, he won't wear it. Like even at the inauguration, he was in fucking sweats and a hoodie. So,
Why?
Yeah, that's stupid.
that's just how Fetterman rolls.
But yeah,
in a way, I kind of respect it, but at the same time, it's like there's time and a place, man.
he can't hide his hump. He can't
That
hide
too,
his
yeah.
second
He
head.
can't hide his goiter. I think
Yeah.
that's what it's called. A goiter. A goiter.
It's a goiter.
Come on, come here, rub lotion on my goiter.
Yeah, he can't hide that. So that's the reason why he wears that fucking hoodie. But Zelensky should have worn. He should have worn a suit. Like when I go to funerals, man, I wear my.
Well, it wasn't a funeral; it was just the inauguration. But
No, I'm
I would
saying
hope
one-
you would dress up for a funeral. That would be awesome.
No, that's what I'm
Good.
saying. When I go to a funeral, I dress in my kilt, and I have the medals and everything. I'm all decked out. I'm dressed my best at a funeral because, especially it's a relative, it's just me giving them respect. So when you go to the White House, I would probably wear that. You know, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if I go to the White House, dude, I'm going fucking all out.
You go all
I'm
out.
dripping out. I'm balling out. I'm got gold chain and the
Yeah.
suit.
You go all out, man. You don't fucking wear
Speaking of that,
fucking pajamas.
you gotta check out this drip right here. Freaking
Segway.
It took like 6 months from when I bought it to when it got to my door, but boy was it worth the wait. Shout out Waifu Watchers. They got some beautiful stuff on that website. I forget how I even found them, but Waifu Watchers. I ordered this before he went crazy for a second time, and then sold his Twitter account to a crypto scammer.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Man, what other crazy shit's been going on in the world?
Epstein files, but I think we should probably save that.
Nothing's
for-
gonna happen there.
fumble.
Yeah, I'm done holding my breath on that. I'm accepting the point. Like all that evidence is probably lost and gone, and it's not going to be like there might be leaks or stuff like that of like copies of the evidence, but there won't be any like official. Like it was Trump coming in and firing all these people, and they're like, well, I might as well go scorched earth if I'm getting fired.
Well, I heard them also saying the CIA was agents were saying they're going to sell information too. Like what the fuck? Like really? What the fuck?
Okay, so I guess we'll just start with my segment this time. The Epstein files, phase 1, as they called it. That was, I believe, Pam Bondi dropping the ball.
You think so?
I think so, because maybe she had the files on her desk, like the version phase 1 files, and she didn't have time to look at them. But she was talking the talk like, I have it on my desk, and we're going to have it released soon. And then when she actually looked into it, she was like, fuck, this is all stuff people already know.
Nothing burger.
Nothing burger. Fat fucking nothing burger. And then, so they bring in all these like conservative lolcows, like a fucking Shia Rychek, Lives of TikTok, that lady. And then DC Drano, I think he's one of the more serious out of the bunch, but Mike Cernovich, he's a goober, but he helped get the ball rolling on the Epstein stuff. He was one of the first people getting Freedom of Information Acts on it.
I heard about that,
Yeah. But they all come out parading around these files, and there's like a 3-hour embargo before they're allowed to release anything. And then when it finally comes out, it's just like, they wanted to fucking string those guys up for making it seem like they were going to like release it. And then like the House Judiciary Committee, I think that's who it was. They put out a link to the Epstein files, like, and then it went to another link. You click that link and you got fucking rickrolled. That's a government account rickrolling people.
Damn.
And if it was anything else, I would be like, yo, that's funny. This is the Epstein files where children were fucking harmed.
Yeah. At least like 200 of them that I heard.
Yeah. That is nothing to joke around with when that many the fucking American populace is waiting for this information to drop.
Yeah. That's pretty messed up.
I didn't know how many. Damn.
Yeah. Well, we blew through my segment pretty fast because that's the Epstein update right there. Is that there's nothing new, nothing new really.
Last Thursdayism.
Oh no, I'll save that for later. That's easy to break down and then go, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Isn't that a cool thought experiment?
What are we on today?
Yeah,
Rom?
Give me the signal. We'll go back in time.
Going back in time. So I got some more information.
Oh, dude, I grew my tail back.
You're a monkey.
I'm a monkey now. I'm a monkey man, making monkey noises.
So remember we were trying to figure out like how to say these damn things. So
Oh, yeah.
Homonoidia.
yeah.
That's my new concept album I'm working on.
So there's hominoidea, which is hominids. And I remember when I was learning about this years ago, and I was actually using hominids for like all the ones in Africa and stuff, like say Australopithecus and a bunch of other ones before the species Homo came around. And I was using that's an older term. That's actually for a larger branch. So I was using the wrong term for. I was like, oh, I'm using the wrong term. I was using hominids, and hominids it represents a larger family. And when you go in closer to that, the next one would be hominids. So there's, where is it here? Hominoids, hominids, and hominin.
Hominin. That's a new
Yes.
one.
So that's the one later. But so the one we're on now is hominids, and that starts around 17.8 million BC, and this is the family of hominids, great apes. And during this time, they're like I've always noticed too that every time I come across like with the videos I watch as far as the information, those are my sources, right? And I see like 10 or 10. They talk about this particular monkey they find, whatever, and they give it a term, they give it a name, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think around, now, right now we're at 17.8 million BC. Now, before that, this is the hominids. Now, before, we were talking about the hominoids. Now, the hominoids, there were at least like 30 plus different types of hominoids. And I was like, what? I didn't know there were that many of them. So, remember, like I was showing you the whole tree Remember everything how like one father has a bunch of kids, whatever, that kind of stuff. All these branches. And so that makes more sense to me because when the hominoids were here, there was like 30 different versions of them. Now, I'm thinking also that in those 30 different versions, one of those lines was Y chromosome, one of those monkey lines, whatever, basically became us. That one line, right? But there's 30 of them. And only, I think some of those lines turn into chimpanzees, turn into gorillas, like they survive too. But I think they were doing, like, remember we were talking about how they were mixing with each other a lot. You get a new breed, I think it's what's happening also when they see, look at the bones, they can't do any DNA test.
Yeah, the DNA is degraded by that point. Yeah.
Oh, it's gone. I think they've been able to find a 2 million year old DNA, and that was through the tooth, the enamel. They're able to get actually some.
It wasn't like trapped in the amber or anything.
No, not in amber.
Oh.
So that's later on. I'll talk about that when it comes up at 2 million years. So that that was new for me. It's like, oh, there was 30 types of hominoids. Like, what the hell? And so the hominids, the next phase of our evolution, there's 40. There's 40 types, man.
Damn, that's a lot.
And so it's not just these are lineages that eventually either just dotted out or died off or whatever. They're gone. So that was surprising. It's like, holy crap, I didn't know that. So the previous one we talked about was hominoids, and so we have about 10.5 million years later we have hominids, and that starts at 17.8. And this is the family of hominids, great apes. There are about 40 types of hominids. Now, the sizes of these hominids range from house cats to the size of gorillas. So the house cats would probably be us, probably. That's how small we were, right? Remember how I was telling you before, like we were real small? We were the size, when we came into the primates, we were the size of a mouse, right? Tiny. And over millions and millions, tens of millions of years, eventually we grew
That was
up
like
to.
the haplorhymia. Was that when we were that? Yep.
I think, the haplorhymia, because the U primates and the haplorhymia are basically real tiny little creatures, and they're like the size of a little mouse, maybe, or a big rat, basically, right? And then eventually grew. So now we're at, so they're basically the size of a house cat or a gorilla. Now they're arboreal. How do you say it? I think I'm going to pronounce this right. Arboreal quadrupeds. Now, arboreal means lives in trees. That's what that means.
Okay.
And then quadruped means we use all four, like our hands and our feet. So they're basically still living. We're still living in trees. We're still on all fours, basically. We're not knuckle draggers yet. Now, this is what happens also. And remember I was telling you about the chromosomes, right? So at this time, I think the hominids had 24 pair of chromosomes, and we have 23, right? So we still have 24 at this time. Now, what happens is that the first chromosome, remember I was telling you about the logo green or the goon gene? So that gene,
yep.
I forget, I think that gene was in
It was synthesizing vitamin C, being able to synthesize that. Yep.
I forget what gene that was. I think that was the 7th gene or something like that.
What am I looking at? The Pontifex Institute. Let's worry about that later. Yeah, I'm just showing you.
So the first chromosome, what happens there is that in the first chromosome, the UOX, it was UOX chromosome, or it's an enzyme, and it's the I think it's called Eucharis enzyme. Now that was turned off around this time, and what that enzyme did in that chromosome 1, it basically, so when you went on, you could eat fruit. So at that time, just before this happened in the first chromosome, we were basically eating all these fruits, because the earth was different there too. It was actually a little warmer, so these fruits could grow. They're eating fruit, and their body could actually turn that fruit or that the metabolism into sugar and get rid of it, right? And they were able to get rid of that stuff. Then eventually what happened is when it was on, it basically you can eat all the fruit you want, you won't get fat. The sugar doesn't turn to sugar and makes you fat. That didn't happen back then. Mm-hmm. So the earth was cooling, and so fruits became less. They were seasonal now. Then there's less fruit now because fruits, nuts, and leaves are basically what humans ate back then. So when these fruits became less sparse and they're seasonal,
You needed a way to store that energy at that
right.
point, yeah.
So they turned somehow that gene got turned off after millions of years, and you can turn that fructose, basically, or the sugar from the fruit, into sugar, and you store it as fat. And so that was That was basically like an improvement of our species that we could do that. And this is what the hominids did back then. All these 40 species kind of had this. They kind of turned off actually. So yeah, the Earth was cooling. So here, what this did was break down eucric acid, a waste product of metabolism. And now what happens is that when you have this gene turned off and you eat all this fruit and everything, what ends up happening, the only problem with that, you get gout. So the sugar turns into crystals and ends up in your feet, that kind of stuff. That's what happens.
That shit hurts, by the way.
So fructose turns into fat.
Gout?
See the turning
goddamn.
on. And then, now the turning on and off of genes is linked to food. And this whole idea like it's aliens, man, turning it on. No. It's fucking food.
I think I would relate to the microbiome then.
Yeah. So I think it's the environment. I think it's food had a big impact on how our body evolved with it, and our body changed to it when it changed because of fruit and leaves and whatever they're eating back then changes over and has different species and stuff like that. And they're also so I think the body changed to what they were eating. That's how the body evolved. And you can see this. They can find this when the gene is turned off. They turn it back on. They kind of like fuck around with it. And they can see it. So it's basically it is with food. Here, nothing here. Now again, when you look at our hairs, like on our arm and everything, right? Now when it comes to hair, all apes have the exact same number of hair follicles as we do. If you look at a monkey, if you look at a gorilla, okay, let's just stay with the hominids, right? The hominids. And all hominids have the same. We have the same number of hairs as a chimpanzee. The only difference is that ours are thinner and lighter.
Okay.
That's the only difference. So we're like sweaty apes. We're basically the sweaty apes, great apes. We sweat instead of the reason for the fur is to protect insulation, right? But so ours we have the same, and that was shocking to me. I was like, wow, holy crap! Like same. You see some hairy people with hairy chests and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, trust me, I know.
And ours is just thinner. That's the only difference. So that's the hominids, and this is, and then what was it? Okay, and then we're still in Africa. We kind of spread out a little. We're kind of spread out through Northern Europe, in Europe, Africa, and Asia. Kind of spread out everywhere. And then the next one that happens later after the hominids is the hominin. Now the hominin, those come later, and what ends up happening there this is when we first, in a way, like when you remember the guys are saying that we were originating in Europe. Well, you can say for this one, yeah, because when the Earth starts to cool, and then it starts to warm up again, and they're leaving Africa because in the Sahara, all the African continent was pretty much just trees. Even the desert also was totally trees too. So Africa is an entire jungle, and that's where all this fruit's at and everything. Then when it starts getting that's why I'm kind of confused on if it gets cooler, then the seas drop and it gets drier. Then it does an opposite effect when it gets too warm. So I think what's happening is that the Earth is getting cooler. That makes the desert area hotter, more arid, and the trees start dying away and the grasslands come. And that happens. And so what you start seeing is that they start moving into Europe, moving into Asia, and then later on the next phase after the hominids, because we're in the hominids right now. The next phase is one branch turns into the orangutans, and then the other ones go into Europe, and those become the next phase of us. So that's what that is. So we originate very, very, very beginning of the euprimates were in Asia. They spread out the entire world, end up in Africa, a little bit in Europe too. Then the continents kind of split apart, and then the new world monkeys jump over. We stay in Africa. It's getting pretty good now. Oh, it's getting colder now. They stay in Africa. It's getting warmer now. Oh, now we're moving out. So the environment's changing, the foods are changing, the body, that kind of thing. So all these things are happening, and this is again from the hominoids to the hominids, we're talking 10.5 million years, and that's when this eventually that gene turns off, and all these things are happening. And so that for me, I was learning that wow, food really does change us. Our brains are growing bigger. And again, by percentage also, the hominids back then had a bigger brain size proportion by percentage basically than any other animal at that too. So it's getting bigger and bigger.
Big head babies.
Yeah. And that, again, I go back to thinking that I think the the ones that are in China, the Gigantopithecus, that one comes in at 2 million years. That's later on. I think that's where this Yeti or this Bigfoot is. I think it's one of them. I think it's one of them, those species, those branches off. I think it's where Bigfoot might be from. If Bigfoot's real, that's what I'm thinking. Like, where is all that link? That's what I think. If anything, that would probably be the first like clue that could come from around this time when everything split off. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, there you go. So this is the hominids at 17.8 million BC. We're in Africa. The forests starting to deteriorate, and they're starting to migrate out and able to store fat in their body because there's not much fruit around and it's seasonal. And there you go. That's the next phase. There you go. That's
yeah.
And it's really a Planet of the Apes, pretty much. Yeah, still. It's the great apes. We're the great apes at this time right now.
I feel like an okay ape right now. Well, shit.
Okay.
Great ape.
Do you want to roll into the empty man stuff though?
Yeah.
Oh.
By the way, I have the questionnaire pulled up.
the brain itch thing where it's like, does your brain ever itch?
New membership questionnaire. I can't even read what's supposed to be above personal assessment.
Who's asking a question?
Oh, the Pontifex Institute. Remember, they hand you that pamphlet.
Oh!
Yeah. I watched it with my roommate, and he was down there watching it, and me and my roommate kind of came to the same conclusion of like, a good premise, interesting premise, and then kind of it peters out towards the end, at least in my opinion, in my roommate's opinion. But
I think it's the whole
I can see a little bit
teenage.
of that happening.
Yeah, but the whole if they just cut the teenage crap out,
yeah,
I think it would have been a little bit
Well,
better.
the lady says at the end though, it's like we needed fear, or we needed like some kind of like
I think it was fear.
trauma, something.
Your thing is that you don't believe nothing comes from nothing. Yeah, something comes from nothing.
Like I could suspend my disbelief for this for the point of the story, but the whole idea of like manifesting things is like it's a good motivator, but you actually have to do shit.
Yeah.
You can't just will something into existence, even if you have like a shared mass delusion with the entire planet. You're not gonna manifest a being that did not exist to exist, like
you're talking about a
physically.
being. Yeah.
You're not going to do that. Even down to like fucking manifesting an apple to exist on this table. Like even if somehow we managed to get the entire world to be like, there's an apple on this table, that wouldn't mean there's a fucking apple on the table. You can't fucking prove there's an apple on the table. You can't measure it. Like even if we all had a shared hallucination that there's an apple on the table, I'd grab it and there would be nothing in my hand. But we don't think there's something in my hand. But I guess you could get into the semantics of like, well, then it's real because everybody thinks there's an apple in your hand, but there's objectively not.
So like literally creating matter out of nothing. You don't believe that at all.
No, not manifesting. No,
Okay.
you can't manifest like a fucking quasar to like appear, a miniature quasar. You can't manifest that.
Well, I can see your argument. Yes, scientifically it doesn't make any sense that something would actually appear out
But
of nothing.
for storytelling purposes, I can suspend my disbelief and be like, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be really cool?
Hey man, ancient minds are in the noosphere. The ancient and angry.
I do like the kind of meme though of like you blow in a jug on a bridge and then you can get the empty man to show up. I like that. I like that idea. And then
that's the high school
yeah,
shit.
it's cool though. It's like a good little spooky camp
yeah.
story type dealio. And there's usually bottles and shit near bridges, so it's like that's something you could just pull out your ass and be like, "Hey guys, you ever hear the story of the empty man?"
the guy did it on that not on it at the.
He did it too. Yeah, the police,
It wasn't on the bridge. It was like at the either the beginning or at the foot of the bridge.
or the
With the bone flute.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
was it a flute? Yeah, it was a
Yeah, it
flute.
was a flute. I thought it was like a
that's-
war flute or like a one of those war cry things.
Because he would just blow into it, and then he would. He did warn that guy, by the way.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
If you touch me, you will die. Well, that was cool. But oh fuck, I lost my train of thought.
He did die.
Oh, so the beginning of the movie, it reeled me in with that fucking that actual prop, like the empty
The
man,
skeleton?
the fucking crazy ass finger things, like sitting there. Like I was like, whoa, that's cool. That's a real prop.
Yeah.
And then spoilers towards the end. Spoilers.
It's been out for a while.
I'm gonna still throw that in there in case someone does want to watch it. It like the fingers start to twitch and like, oh, that looks cool, but they had to do that with CGI because like, I wish they could have got someone like Guillermo del Toro to make like an actual like prop because like when it like crawls through the weave and like actually manifests into reality, it gets draped in like a fucking like a cloak almost, and the whole thing fell apart for me because I was like, that's it doesn't pass the sniff test or the visual test. It's CGI.
It's when I first looked at it, it looked like a mummy with a cloak.
I think it would have been cooler if they did a practical effect. Granted, I don't know what the budget was, but I think they still did a good job with what they had. But I think it would have been way better if that thing fucking started moving and clambering at him without that like CGI cloak strewn about it.
See, I haven't heard any like director's cut or anything like what like behind the scenes.
Oh,
or
yeah.
anything. We haven't heard any of that.
Yeah, there's no more director's commentary anymore.
I know that's the thing. That sucks
It's just
about
like talking about the director's cut and all that type of stuff. The commentary from the directors themselves is just
That's
like
better.
learning about like the thing too. We're just gonna bring
Yeah.
that back. Let's bring
That
that,
was a good
back. What the
I would like to argue with you as far as like manifesting something out of nothing. And
You can okay. I'll put a caveat where it's like for like religion and like esoteric stuff. Like, yeah, you can definitely manifest that because like a belief can influence how we react to the world. That's a belief. That's the abstract. That's not like a physical thing. And it could be argued that that abstract could like bend your will to make a physical thing. But again, you're not manifesting it. You're physically making it.
but that's part of it. That's the excuse.
Okay, well, for the movie, then they would have somehow got two people to
Yeah.
like build a human, essentially, like a golem. They would have had to make a clay thing and then do it with life
homunculus.
somehow.
It was the 14th version that finally worked.
Yeah, I the fucking when he's in that cabin looking at those videos. Too,
That
like,
was cool.
it-
The bear. What's up with the freaking little bear?
I don't know.
If they,
That was
okay,
cool.
I guess I could say this: if they had left it like an open end type thingy, like an open ended, like he could have been, instead of showing that he is the empty man, then I think that would have been better because it would have like my mind would have been able to ponder like what the fuck.
Well, he was just a vessel for the spirit.
Yeah.
Right.
He
For the-
transmits. They
the
receive.
angry.
Well, I wouldn't say.
mind.
I don't. Then I think those are different entities. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, they did talk about a little bit of the noosphere, and they said, I don't
Yeah,
know,
the
I don't
whole
know who
concept of
said
the
it.
noosphere too. Like
Okay, so that's part of the consciousness.
as an idea or an extra dimensional area, I could believe it. But like saying it's like physically part of the atmosphere, I'm like, dude, no. Because then the moment
it's not really there. Okay.
the moment we left for the moon, then those people would have been disconnected, and they would have been.
Yeah.
I
I don't. Yeah. The whole idea that like we're physically there is no physical location for it. The idea of a noosphere or the consciousness or the one whatever that exists. Yeah, obviously it exists.
yeah.
We don't know where. Now, someone will say it's around the Earth. No, it's
That's what they say in Stalker.
yeah. Stalker says
Yeah.
that, but that's probably them. It's a little. I think it's a little more complicated than that. I think it's a dimension that or maybe some sort of. We have people. That was the whole idea. Like we're talking about where ideas come from, right?
Intuition.
Intuition, and it comes from this location.
They did say that guy, what would I call him, a preacher or something like that? Because it is
I like
a
that scene.
religion.
I like
Which
that.
one?
But the Pontifex
Pontifex.
Institute.
Oh, the guy.
Yeah, the guy that was talking
Yeah.
about
I
all that type of
forget the
stuff.
actor's name, but he did a very good job in that.
I can
That
look it
was
up
really
right
good.
quick. But he was talking about intuition and all that type of stuff. And you literally were just talking about that
Yeah.
way before we even started the movie.
Yeah.
So I could just look it up. I could look up the cast right now.
What was it? Okay.
When,
Now,
when he
the-
was talking about how like saying a word over and over and over eventually renders it into nothing,
Yeah.
that was jiving with me. I got that.
Okay, I
Yeah.
got that too. I could say that something coming from nothing would be the working theory of the Big Bang.
Yeah, like it's unfathomable, at least in my brain, like something from nothing. But I understand that that's required in order to.
Yeah.
I lean more into the big bounce. If I'm being 100% real.
Yeah. See that I don't. Yeah. I look at the Big Bang theory of the cosmos as an explosion, and that's it.
Stephen
Because
Root.
when we, yeah, that's it. So when you look at
Stephen Root.
Stephen Root, that guy.
when you look at I mentioned these guys on the previous episode we did, where it's the entire history of the entire universe, and it's like 95% black holes. Was this So that it's just an explosion, and this is what's left over. And so where's the bounce come from? Yeah, I don't know. That's the weird part.
Slight derail. So, Anton Perev, that guy, I was watching one of his videos before I go to bed as usual, where he's talking about like the biggest black hole that we know of, and like how we detected it through like a solar lens.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
That like when he said it is like it's billions of solar masses, I was like, I can't even comprehend that because our sun's already fucking huge, and I can't really wrap my head around how big that is, like scale wise. But then when you go saying there's something out there that's like a black hole that's billions of the times bigger than that,
That's crazy.
unfathomable.
See, the thing about a black hole, not only is it just gravity to a singularity, it actually rips a hole in the space-time. It rips a hole. But the thing is, information is not lost. Information is transferred. And I was explaining to him, like, when you get up, say, for a piece of wood, and whatever that wood is, right, that piece of wood, if it had writing on it, whatever, if it didn't, if it did, whatever, and you burn it, and it comes to ash, smoke, that's still information. Information is never lost. So the writing on it might be lost, but now that writing is ash now. That's the information.
Ash and also the fine particles that are burnt off into the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that information is being transferred. Yeah. So that information being transferred. So you never lose information. If anything gets vaporized, it's transferred. So when it goes to a black hole, that's the ultimate. Like it doesn't go anywhere. Now, if it goes anywhere, it rips. It's still information in that black hole.
I lead into the whole like,
You can't get rid of information.
well, getting rid of it versus it going somewhere else.
That's
Kind of where I'm at. Where
Yeah.
you ever heard the concept of a white hole?
Yes.
Yeah, like essentially the inverse of a black hole where it's projecting out and nothing, no matter how fast it's going, can get back into that white hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the Big Bang.
Yeah, maybe.
That who the hell knows?
So every
No
time
really-
a black hole spawns,
another
then
universe.
it's another universe being created, and then all the matter information that goes into it, maybe it's being bled out into that new universe.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes a little more sense. So when you're talking about the nolosphere, right? Okay, have you guys ever heard of the Hill?
King of the Hill?
No.
Sorry. I had to derail.
America's
No, it's a-
anime.
That boy ain't right.
That boy.
God damn it, Bobby. So, you've heard of the
Telepathy
tapes?
telepathy tapes. No.
Never heard of that.
Heard of that? Okay. Now we talked about people who have Down syndrome, right?
Oh, we're going right. Okay.
Okay, and people who are autistic.
Wait, are they just psionics and they're just hiding their powers from us?
Basically, that's what
Yes.
he's trying to say. Yeah.
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
No. You're gonna break that up?
But
The most inside of inside jokes. No one is ever going to know it. I'm never going to explain it. I'm never explaining it. Okay.
So, talking about that a little bit, I think when James Badge Dan, that's the character, that's the actor's name. His character James Lasombra was looking into the Pontifex Institute on the laptop and everything like that, and I do remember a particular scene from that when he's like, doing all the Google searches and everything, and one of them came up as like, I think something about like a phantom or something like that, or some sort of spiritual entity. And I was like, La Sombra, that has to have some meaning to it. And I don't know if it was you or it was somebody else, but you said it was like phantom or something like that. La Sombra.
Pretty sure it translates to shadow in Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like
the
90%.
Spanish
Sombra?
word, yeah,
Sombra.
the Spanish word sombra translates to shadow or shade in English.
Okay, so I was right.
It could also mean silhouette or trace. So
dark.
from the beginning of the whole 3-day thing that was going on in the movie, he was literally just like a shadow of himself, a shade or a silhouette, and then it didn't
Coalesce.
I guess coalesce. is a word.
Coagulate. I like that word.
Coagulate. It didn't coalesce until spoilers, the last scene of the movie where he actually meets Ryan Poole's, not Paul's, Ryan Poole's character, Paul.
Is that the actor's name?
The actor's name that played Paul, yeah.
Ryan Poole.
Ryan Poole. He looks like Ryan Paul a little bit, especially when he had
Yeah,
that
with
shaved
the
head
beanie and then the
Yeah.
He just has like kind of the same skull shape. I don't know.
They do.
And the facial hair.
The facial hair, yes.
Yeah.
I
But
remember what part of the movie that was. At the end.
that was
like,
the beginning.
Right at the beginning, and then he shows up in the end as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did kind of. Yeah.
Because it was literally calling to Paul
Yeah.
when he was on top. What was it? You
guys hear
what
that?
was it again? What Mountain Range? I almost forgot.
They're on the Paul.
The Paul. And
Beautiful, beautiful set.
By the way, holy shit, that was so awesome. I love
Yeah.
that was a good introductory to like the whole fucking to the
Oh,
whole
so you're saying that
movie.
Paul turned into autistic?
Yeah. he became neurodivergent.
Yes, basically, I guess. But
He became a vessel for the spirit.
we were joking about it after we watched the movie, and he was like, "If one of us did that, we're just leaving them there."
I have a new operating, like a new standard operating procedure for if any of my friends seem like they're possessed by a demon. Like,
Sorry, bro.
no, I'm gonna treat it like they're gaslighting me, even to the detriment of them. Where I'm like, okay, buddy, well, I'm gonna leave now. I'm not gonna touch you because you said I'm gonna die, just in case this is real.
Yeah.
But okay, buddy, I'm gonna go out there and tell them I couldn't find you.
So my question is, so he says, if you touch me, you die. So if you were to poke him with a stick, would you still die?
Okay, so he was touching the same ground that he was touching. He was touching the same air molecules that he was touching. I think he meant physical contact, even though they were wearing gloves and he was wearing a coat. I think it was more of the symbolism of it. Like, you touch me, this will begin a chain of events that we cannot go back on. And he already knows he's going to touch him, but he still gives him that warning.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
As
Honestly,
a friend, he gives him that warning.
that was, nice of him until he went crazy.
I think that was the last human thing he did or could do.
It was basically basically the whole thing with Sombra's character arc. It was basically, apparently he was. It kind of ties into last Thursdayism.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
It ties into the empty man. That's why I brought up
So
that
you
idea to him.
remember that scene where he was in the Mexican restaurant? And he has that coupon for his birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was drinking that Modelo. He put the lime in and just fucking starts drinking it.
Fucking
That was the day
Yeah. He was
that
born.
he was born.
Yeah.
That was
So
the day.
That's how we got that. It was
He
his
was
birthday.
manifested.
They did the little happy birthday.
You know, it'd be really funny if it said it was actually like Thursday.
Yeah, that would be a good time.
Oh!
But no, just for clarification, in case you don't know what the theory that it's a thought experiment about like fabricated memories and stuff and such like that. Excuse me. But the theory is called the universe started last Thursday. It's a thought experiment. Essentially, everything before last Thursday was not real and it didn't happen. You only have the memory of it because that's how the universe was programmed, is that you would have a memory before the start date. Now, the main character, I forget his name, La Sombra, that guy?
La Sombra.
La Sombra is, he's kind of an embodiment of that theory, whereas like he was born in that time, like a short period ago, like manifested, and then like a few days later, like the story takes place like the moment he's manifested, I guess, but you don't know that. And he doesn't know that because he has all these memories before that time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So to him, the universe started last Thursday, but he thinks he's had this whole life up until then.
Yeah, I can see how that theory. Yeah, that theory.
It
goes
drew
in
that
there.
to my brain because I was like, oh, okay, I'm familiar with this.
So I was looking it up a little bit, and I was trying to get that scene in my head when he was doing this research on the Pontifex Institute. And when I looked it up, there was somebody, I think it was on Reddit, because I just looked it up recently, like right now, and it said, "Why did he keep saying I grew up in San Francisco?"
Yeah, you didn't get that. I remember.
Yeah. But the thing is, somebody said that's just the backstory of his character.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
yeah. So we were both right in that, but
Yeah.
I think what he was alluding to was the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
Oh God, we're on a hit list now.
Oh no.
The Church of Scientology headquartered in LA,
Yeah.
so in California.
Well, he was saying. I got the impression that I've been around crazy people. I know what this is about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That too.
That's essentially the crux of everything was, especially.
I see Pontifex as an embodiment of the crazy cult Scientology type dealio.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think Wendigoon did a video about Scientology. I have to look that up to make sure.
That's crazy, man. It's crazy.
But
Hot top or crazy
'Cause
opinion here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Church of Scientology, probably not very cool, not very cash money. Controversial topic.
yeah, no, only hard hitting facts here.
Yes.
But when you guys talk about I always try to like say, is it real?
Israel.
And that's no.
sorry. Keep
But
going.
that's what I'm saying. That the whole. That's why I brought up earlier the hill, and it deals with the tapes, the people that are retarded, whatever that are autistic. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a documentary coming out, and it's about these people. They're called spellers.
I'm vibing with this.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say you come across somebody. Now, I was thinking, who do I know that could be like that? And we know who that person is, the old man. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, could he? Maybe not, right? So I was like, maybe not. Maybe that person can't do that. So the idea is that when you see these people who look like they have Down syndrome, but they look normal, they have no control of their body, but they're actually still in there. And so what they've been able to do is been able to help them put like a pad in front of them and then ask them a question and they can answer it. They can actually type it out.
Oh wait, I think you showed me that.
Oh, like when they split the hemispheres, that type dealio? Where
No.
Okay,
No.
I'm thinking something different then.
So there was a Mexican family, and they had a daughter who was autistic, but I can't really say they're not retarded. They're just so autistic that they can't communicate. So they're
Nonverbal, yeah.
nonverbal.
Yep.
And the mother and the sister and all them, the family swears that she can read their minds. They can ask her a question and she could type it out. So she's done tests on this. The lady who's doing the documentary on it had to, I think her name was, I forget her name, Kai something. Here's her name, whatever. And so she was on Joe Rogan talking about this. And so the subject came up that, have you ever heard of The Hill? And he goes, what are we talking about? And he starts saying that what these kids are doing is they're going somewhere and hanging out with other kids that are spellers too.
Okay.
And they're not in the same town.
So not like in like the sense of remote viewing, but like in a
It is. No, they can remote view too.
okay. We might have okay. Well, I'm editing episode 6 right now, so
Yeah.
sorry about that. Sorry I'm behind, but I had to go and put the tinfoil hat on myself when I started talking about it, and I also put the tinfoil hat on you for a part of it too, because when I was trying to like search the stuff up that I could have swore I remembered to like back up what I was saying,
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything. So it might have been scrubbed from the internet, or I might have just been misremembering, or I heard it from somebody who was not 100% telling the truth. I don't know. Like it had to do with like the missing 411s, where they were
Yeah.
like there's remote viewing people that helped them find stuff. Where
Yeah.
it turned out a lot of
Clairvoyance.
it was coincidental, where it's like they hadn't searched this area yet, but they were still it was in the search parameter, and this person just might have had some offhand knowledge of it, maybe. But there's no way you can scientifically prove it. Is what I'm trying to
Trying
say.
to prove what?
Like objectively prove that remote viewing works. Now,
Didn't we have that conversation on the way to your house?
probably
remote viewing is
of editing, but
remote viewing is real.
I'm not denying that it isn't. All I'm saying is that I couldn't find anything like factual to back up.
Okay,
we're
what
saying.
you heard the story from Jimmy Carter?
No.
So
What
they asked Jimmy Carter, "What's the weirdest thing you ever experienced when you were in the Oval Office, or when you were a president?" He said, the strangest thing I had was there was a girl, I forget her name, this lady who's a remote viewer. The Russians had a Tu-22 spy plane that went down in Africa, right? They asked her, "Can you help us find this plane? We want to get it." And she remote viewed, and she drew him a picture of a 3-mile radius, basically, of where it was at. And they found it,
Okay.
and they got it.
Can you
Now,
find
this is-
her name? Or
Yeah, I can find her name.
definitely send that to me, because I would love to include that.
Yeah.
But I'm of the mindset now with all the Manchurian candidate stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think what really okay, this is one idea I have that could explain it and rationalize it, is that we were psyoping the Russians with like psychic warrior type dealios. That was what the remote viewing stuff was. We actually were looking for people with psychic abilities, but I think that led to more of a dead end more than anything. But we wanted to keep the psyop going, so we eventually psyoped so good that we convinced Russia that it was real. So they started looking into it, and then they created their own programs, and our CIA, a different department, found out about it, and they're like, oh shit, this stuff's real. So then we gaslit ourselves via Russia to thinking it's real.
The Russians did it first. When we found out, we started doing it.
Okay.
And so the whole remote viewing thing is real.
Okay.
I can tell you that right now. That I have no personal experience. I could say that I have some premonitions. I have some ability to do that, but to very limited. But it's my doubt and it's my scientific mind that gets in the way. But I do have that clairvoyance, I guess, in a way. When I sense things, but very literally, I can sense them, and then I shouldn't ignore it. I should listen to it. So that's what kind of like it convinces me, and with the stories I've heard from Sean Ryan, and a bunch of other people too, Joe Rogan, and all them, bringing in people that either are bullshitting or telling the truth, one or the other. It's a good story no matter what it is. But I'm convinced that removing is real. Now, they use it as a weapon against the Russians to spy on them and stuff, and the Russians do it too. Now, they say that this Stargate program is no longer around. I don't believe that.
Yeah, they
It's
rebranded
still-
it with a new name, so that
Yes.
way it's
can't
the
find
whole
it.
AI thing.
So,
now. Yeah.
Wait.
Do they share the same lobby?
Okay, now we're going into the hill. Now,
Oh,
when they talk to these spellers, when they go to this hill, there's not just one hill. There's many. There's a couple of hills, but there's one story. There's one of the stories I know is that they go to this hill. It's just a place, and they're able to hang out with their friends and talk. And then one of the kids that's there, that's a speller, is trying to look into time travel, right? And then that's what one of them said. And the other story is that there was a teacher that was listening to a podcast on the tapes, right? On the telepathy tapes, and she came to class one time, and one of the students said, she said, "I listened to this tapes, whatever," and the kid goes, "I listened to it too." He goes, "You listened to the tape? When did you listen to it?" "No, I listened to it when you listened to it." That's what the kid told her, right? He goes, "What do you mean?" "Well, I went into your ear and listened to it." That's what he told her.
Okay.
So he remote viewed basically from her ear and listened to the entire podcast that she listened to. I go, "When did you do this?" "Around 10:15 is when you did it." And he was right. So shit like that happens. Now, the one thing that they're afraid of, if these kids are going there and talking to each other, what is this place? And so when they heard about this, there's a guy out of New York, I think he was, and he was helping. I was like, he's kind of feeling kind of like, I need something in my life. I need to do something useful. And then someone told, "Hey, you should go help out the kids that are spellers and help them, kind of like learn things." So he goes there. He starts teaching with them for months and months and months, and then eventually he gets to the point to where he wants to go there too, because they always talk about it. He wants to go to the hill. So he focuses, he concentrates, he does meditation, and eventually he gets there. And when he gets there, he hears another voice, and he goes, "I know who this is." He's never heard the kid talk, but he recognized that that's the kid. And he goes, "I got to verify this somehow." Okay, he goes to the kid. "Okay, I'm going to tell you names of my family, and you're going to tell me when I meet you next week, okay?" He goes, "Okay." And he tells the kid, "My mother's name is Amy. My father's name is this. My brother's name is this. So next time we see each other, you tell me what I said, okay?" So a week later, they go to class, and he gets there. The other girl teacher says, "Hey, so-and-so said he saw you at the hill." He goes, "Yeah, I was there." And he's like, and he goes to the kid. He goes, "Okay, tell me." And the lady teacher tells the kid, "Okay, what did he tell you?" He said his mother's name's Amy, and his father's name is this. He said the same thing. So it's a real place, and I'm convinced of it. So to me, this is another thing that was really cool about it. He said that the location where it's at is divinely protected. That's what
Okay.
he said. And that was pretty cool.
So, little side tangent here where about a year ago, I think around a year ago, I was listening to this guy, What If Altis, that guy. I've mentioned him before in previous podcasts, but he just like out of the blue came out with this video, like the spirit world is real and the CIA was looking or using it. And he brings up the Monroe Institute
Yeah.
and the hemisync stuff they do. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to approach this with an open mind. I've done lucid dreaming before, so I'm vaguely aware of like the whole like putting yourself in a trance while you go to sleep and then like going somewhere else. I wasn't able to achieve it. Now, I don't know if that's just inherently something with me or
Take
I
practice,
just-
a lot of practice. Yeah.
it could be that. I only tried it for like a week, but I'm too afraid of fucking going back into sleep paralysis like that. I started having that happen when I was trying to lucid dream. So I was like, I'm done doing this. I'm done fucking with it. But just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And maybe I'm one of those hard cases and it is gated divine protection. And the only way to like brute force it
Yeah, you
is with
can't.
like DMT or some kind of crazy psychedelics or something like that, which I don't think I'm going to try doing that because I don't think I'm holding it with enough respect to try to do something like that if I'm trying to brute force it.
That's what the teacher said too. The male teacher said that he was able to talk to a teacher that was there, and what they called a counselor or it was a representative basically that is protecting the location. And so what he was concerned about, I'm concerned about it too, is that people will try to get in and take advantage of these kids to use them as remote viewers.
Right.
That's what I'm afraid of too, because, and the thing is that the key thing, which I know, right, I already knew the answer to that, is love. And it sounds corny, but he said, because if you look at these kids that are spellers, they're innocent, man. Mm-hmm. They're completely innocent. And they're just little kids and they're in there, but they just can't control their bodies to express what they're. That's the reason why in Egyptian times, they had people that were retarded or were autistic back then in the temples. The Indians had the same thing too. When you go to their temples, they're people that are disformed and stuff because they look at them as spirits or gods that mutated the human body because they're too powerful. And I think that's in my interpretation of that.
There's too much going up here that it like
It's
similar
too
to how
powerful.
if you lose like your sense of sight, you get your other senses become enhanced. Maybe it's
Yes.
something similar to that.
It could be.
can
I
hear
think
that.
it's that also.
But part of the divine protection thing, I think it's similar to how like was that documentary we watched about like psychedelics, the change your mind.
Yeah.
That I'm trying to cite it. What's that? Do you know that dude's name off the top of your head?
Oh damn it! He had a Netflix special. Yeah, we were watching the 4 different videos.
How to change your mind.
Yeah,
it
How to
was
Change Your
called.
Mind.
But the whole thing where like the tribal woman in Mexico,
Yes.
like how she was giving the medicine to like all the people there, and then when outsiders started to come,
Ruined
she was it ruined it, but she was hesitant at first, but eventually started giving it out to those people. And I think maybe something similar to that, where it's like people are going to do that, and maybe I'm one of those people where I'm going in not holding it with enough respect, and that's why I can't enter. But maybe that's a good thing to keep out the masses of people who would go in there to just
if you okay, this is what when I heard about that, that really shook me up.
Yeah, that was very unsettling to hear about that whole situation. Yeah.
His mic's not on.
Oh, sorry, dude.
But the hill. So this is when I heard about this hill, I thought, oh my god, it's real, and like I might be able to get a chance to go there. That's what I'm trying to do, right? So I had little cubes. I took 2 of them, and I tried to meditate to get there. But what ended up happening is I shot myself down. So that night I tried. I tried to see if I could go there, or at least maybe try to find it, because those kids were telling him, "You found us. You're welcome here." He's like, "Can I tell anybody else?" Yeah, you can tell anybody else you want. So it's. I got really excited. Like, oh my god, that'd be so amazing if we could do this, because I want to. If these divine, it's more like, who are these divine people? Are these the same entities that I saw? Is it them? Are these the angels or the gods, whatever they are, that are protecting them? Because they said it was divinely protected. When I did ayahuasca and I did bufo, especially ayahuasca, I saw the shield twice. I saw the shield around me. It was divinely protected. And even the shaman, the guy who was giving out, even he said that. We are protected. There's no worries here. Because it was like he just manifested the shield around us, and we did that. And I saw it twice. I saw a shield around us. So when I tried to go there, I shot myself down. I thought, I'm not worthy of this. I'm too messed up, or I'm too mean, or but love is the key. And I said, well, I know that. I know that the source I have, the power source I have, that's the key to get in. That's what the guy was saying. If you come in with pure intentions, and the thing is love, 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 love. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. But I shot myself down. I thought maybe I'm not ready to go there yet. That could be it too.
I think that's where I'm at. Yeah.
So what I ended up doing is I ended up basically, and everything started fractaling because the cubes I did. And I basically, the way I saw it was, I wanted to be one of those guards. That's what it was. I wanted to be one of those guards, but am I worthy to be a guard? And so I felt, no, I still have problems. I need to do it again. Is what I need to do ayahuasca again. So I saw the cosmos as a gelatinous state, like this pure gelatinous, like fluid, and I created my own universe. And I pushed the gelatinous state around, and when I did that, the room started forming in my room. The room started forming. I was like, I'll stay here for right now until I get a chance to go there. And when I was looking at when I was coming out of it, I was groggy for that. I was groggy the whole day. I'm not gonna ever do that again. I don't think, because maybe
Like,
that
your
got in the
body
way.
goes to sleep, but your mind is still awake, and
Yeah.
you don't get that rest. And yeah,
And then, yeah, that's what it was. And so, because I was somewhere, because I was definitely racing somewhere else, but everything I was looking at was fractaling. When I saw glass, everything was glass. When I saw a blanket, everything was a blanket. Like every focus I focused into was everything. So that's what I was experiencing that night with that when I tried to go there. But that was probably the wrong way to go there, I'm thinking too, maybe. But I definitely had intent to try to go there. And I think I will try, because I do have, every once in a while, I'll feel this vibration. I'm outside and I feel a vibration in my body, and that could be just my heart beating and just the blood running through my body making that vibration, but I can feel it. I can feel this like this boom, boom, boom. I feel that, and when I focus, when I'm out, especially when I'm on the country where there's no noise at all, no sound at all, I can hear a beat, and I think, wow, who has a boombox on? I'm actually hearing my beat in my own ear. I'm hearing my own blood pump in my own ear.
around your body, yeah.
Yeah, and it's because you're in the middle of nowhere where there's no sound at all. In the country, there's nothing. I can hear that. So maybe I should focus on that to find me, because he was saying that he was trying to get this frequency. It's all about frequency. And if you're pure intent behind it, you could probably go there. I'm gonna try to see if I can go there again to the hill. But I definitely, if I'm not let in, that's okay. I'm not allowed to go in, that's fine. But I definitely want to see if I can get in there, because these kids were remote viewing, man, in the future and the past, and these spellers are there, and there's not just one. There's multiple hills too, but they're divinely protected, and I really believe that. That was amazing to me when I heard that. That really, oh boy, here we go, another. This is another adventure, you know. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Yeah. So there you go. That's my story on the hill.
Well, I think I've scared myself off from trying any of that stuff. Like when I was doing my lucid dreaming stuff, I was the nerd trying to, okay, like I'd set up a camera just in case, like just watch myself. So like if I do any like weird shit, and I've recorded myself in sleep paralysis, and that's when I really psyched myself out from it, because I could like see myself just laying 100% still going, trying to like fucking like scream or yell out for help or something. And, like,
Really?
yeah.
Holy crap.
It freaked me out so much. Like just watching the recording of it, like, oh my God.
Okay, racist.
Yeah, by the way, the author's name is Michael Pollan.
Yes.
Michael Pollan?
Pollan.
Michael Pollan. Okay.
Yeah, without an E, it's an A.
Michael Pollan.
Pollan.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Tomato. Yeah.
Well, I guess I can talk about that Halo tweet. that-
Oh, yeah, you were supposed
Yeah.
to send me that, but you never
I didn't send it, but I can pull it up on my Twitter and just
Yeah.
show you. But
do that.
and it's just sad. Like I almost want to completely like block it out from like even being able to like see it anymore. But
It's about Halo? What's it?
Yeah, it's the official Halo. You see this? Go ahead and pass it to him.
What
once you're
the
done.
fuck?
Right? Yeah. So I've already given up on Halo Infinite. I played it when it like first came out because I was like, oh, open world Halo, that sounds cool. Like multiplayer is kind of
Rosie.
ass, but I don't know.
Is that?
That's a thing. They added that. That's a thing they put in the game, and
Why are they putting this crap in there?
they're just trying to score more ESG points, even though that's not going
Money.
to benefit.
Rosie
them
the
anymore.
Riveter?
Yep.
What's up with that flag behind it? What's up with that?
Oh yeah, I guess I should explain it for the people listening, but it's Halo for like Women's History Month, I think, or whatever they're
God,
trying
give me a
to
break.
celebrate. They put out like a Rivet Rosie
Yeah.
thing where like they're doing the pose. The Spartans are doing that pose. They got this armor to. It's.
Cringe.
I wasn't the most diehard Star Wars fan, but I think
Yeah.
I get it now. I think I 100%
No,
get
see,
it.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
I love Star Wars.
Is dead.
But I wasn't the type of nerd to like go looking like all the expanded universe.
Oh,
all
I
that,
did,
all
yeah.
that kind of lore. Like I kind of just passively enjoy it, and like, but to see from when I grew up with
When
it.
you guys told me last time like the enthusiasm you guys when you guys are playing Halo. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh man, wow, I'm really.
and then
into
just to see how much they've shit on the source material,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't, but it does. It pulls value away from it.
It does. Yeah.
It's when I don't want to tell people about it anymore. I don't want to get people into the hobby.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same anymore.
I told Star Wars was that for me. Star Trek was that for me too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god, yeah. It's just now the Who,
the
Doctor
modern
Who,
mythos that we had constructed is just
gone, destroyed. Well, supposedly,
it's communist.
cray.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I was just gonna say it's like communist demoralization.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Well, Cray Cray. Kathleen Kennedy, Cray Cray.
Oh yes, yeah.
She's threatening that she's leaving or some shit like that.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
She's
that she
not
was
leaving.
leaving. She was saying that she's gonna stay because there's.
Yeah.
So basically, like the announcement came out that is like she's gonna be out by like the end of the year.
October,
she's talking
November.
about getting a successor and like you don't be when you're on your shit like Tom Brady like. They're trying to set him up with a successor or someone to follow him up, and he would never let him play and never let him go out because he's like, no, I'm in my prime. I'm still doing this shit.
Yeah.
It's like when you're on top of the world, you're not thinking like, all right, I'm at my best. Time to fucking get someone
Nope.
in place to replace me.
Keep going.
No, you're
Keep
thinking
going.
like I'm on my top. I'm on the top. No one's gonna threaten me. That's what Kathleen Kennedy is thinking. She's like, oh, I'm fucking owning this bitch. But she's being told by.
Yeah.
I want to think it's Bob Iger, but maybe it's some other people that are telling her it's like, no, this ain't working. We're getting you a replacement here, so you're out. And then she came out saying it's like, nope, I'm not. There's nothing going on. I'm not going.
She says it and she doesn't say it. Like, what the hell's going on? I think she wants to be there to be a producer, but not to be in charge.
Yeah,
And they're pushing her off to the side. Like, get the fuck out of the way. We're gonna put somebody else in. Who the hell could run it? There's nobody that would. There's nobody quali. The only people I can think that would be qualified would be like maybe.
Star Theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would.
I think
he'd
he
be the
would.
only one
Well,
that I could think of.
him,
You know?
and I think, well, to an extent, George Lucas, if he was to come back and
He's done. He's not gonna.
he's been away from it so long, but he has such a vast knowledge of
Yes.
the original, like what it was built off of. Like
Look,
everything
Star
had
Wars,
to go through him.
Who was the other
originally?
What's it? The guy that comes on with Nerdrotic, Ryan Kindle.
Yeah,
No,
that
Ryan
guy,
Kindle
yep.
knows quite about Star. I was actually surprised. Like, oh, he knows quite a bit. He knows about Star Wars. Star Wars 3 knows about Star Wars. There's also another guy. He does a podcast with both of them. Also, another nerd, Star Wars nerd. But I think one of those two would be perfect. But they're never have a chance. It's not going to work, man. Whoever they pick, if they pick Feige, if they pick the Feige was an idea too. Who was the other one? Filoni? No fucking way. Not him. After what happened with the last. Oh God, I don't even want to say the name. The last Star Wars crap that came out with the two last ones. The one with the kids and the one with
the Force Awakens.
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew was like I tried to enjoy it. It was kind of cool, but I was like, oh, once I had the war thing with the kids, like, I'm done.
It's supposed to be a kids show. Like,
Yeah, it
I
is,
understand
it is.
that, but
It's just dumb. But what was it? Star Wars. What was it? The Prodigy. What the hell was it called?
Prodigy.
Star Wars were the witches.
Oh,
Power of one, Power of two.
Acolyte, Acolyte, yeah.
Oh my god, that was pure shit. And they were like joking, like, what if you put who was Epstein's assistant? What was her-
Harvey.
Yeah.
Wait, no, Ghislaine Maxwell.
If it put Maxwell as the head of Star Wars. It's already shit anyway. So let's put her in charge.
Are you talking about Leslie Headland?
Yes,
Harvey
that one.
Weinstein's assistant. Okay, yeah, not Ghislaine
Her.
Maxwell.
No,
Ghislaine
not her.
Maxwell was Epstein's. Yeah,
But yeah, put her in charge. Just go ahead and put her in charge. Fuck it. Who cares?
It's kind of fucked up to say like, but yeah, movies were definitely of a higher caliber when Harvey Weinstein was still.
That's fucked up. Yeah.
It's fucked up, yeah, but
It's fucked up to say, but it's probably true.
It's true. Yeah, I don't know who they're gonna pick, dude. And then I don't believe it. I don't care. I don't fucking care.
I put out a tweet about the Halo stuff where I was like, Microsoft, your best strategy right now, if you're even listening, they're not, but would be to put Halo on ice. Wait.
They can't, dude.
They
Yeah.
can't because it's the
cash cow.
It's all anymore. Not anymore, I don't think. But
No,
there's always going to be fucking normies that don't pay attention to any of
It's
this
not
shit.
fucking years.
They're there for the gameplay. They're there for that. Like I understand that, but like, just it needs time to heal. Like to forget all of these.
Just bury it. Just bury it.
Not the original source material. Like Master Chief Collection's great. Like I love that. I love all
Well, you
that.
guys said when did it went to
besides
shit?
4, but
What?
It was when did it go to shit? Halo
Like
4.
okay, my original opinion was everything after like Reach, because that's when Bungie stopped working on it. But after that Hidden Xperia video, I have a new appreciation for Halo 4 and what like the framework that was set up for it. Appreciate that. So I'd say now, after Halo 4, I would say that's when it really
Would you say that both Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2 be shit too?
No, I enjoyed Halo Wars. The original was great. The Halo Wars 2, gameplay great. I liked where they were going with the Banished. I like that. I like that the Flood came back.
Dude, it was amazing, especially when it's on the same arc too. Like the arc is not destroyed.
I didn't like the loot box pay to win bullshit that they tried implementing, but they're gonna go for every fucking penny.
Fucking Colony is a piece of shit, man. He cheats. Jesus Christ. The AI in that game cheats. In Halo Wars 2, they cheat so fucking hard. But it's a fun game. The only issue is the air spam. Because you spam
water.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know why, or whatever.
Yeah, you have our permission. You have our blessing.
Yeah, you have our, yeah. But the air spam was just complete dog shit. You have to either counter with anti-air, or you have to like completely hurry, like send out like a dummy fleet and a dummy army, so they could just like attack that, and you just like the steamroll their fucking facilities.
I think it's Zerging from
Zerging.
StarCraft. I think that's where that comes from. Like where you just spam like your cheapest unit, and then you just fucking flood it, just have them keep going. And
There is I don't know what the fuck to call it. One leader, I guess I want to say, is Yab Yab the Destroyer.
yeah,
Dude, he is literally the swarm faction. He will swarm you with all sorts of fucking grunts. And that was fun playing as Yap Yap. I love Yap Yap. But
you liked how Yap Yap too.
shut up. They brought back the guy that died in the first game. What's his name? He was a sergeant.
One of those Spartan dudes, or
No, not the no. All the Spartans survived.
Oh yeah, they all had helmets on too. You never
Yeah.
see their face though.
So
I think I know who you're talking about. I'll put them up on the screen. What's up?
I think when you get a blanket here, because you can hear this a lot.
It's whatever. Just
Not too loud.
But they also brought Avery Johnson in, and holy shit, he's a hero. What?
use that little the headset bag thing. Just set it on that.
Yeah,
That'll dampen it a little bit. When
you
set it down.
should dump whatever's in there right
No,
quick.
I don't want to do that.
Okay. But he Johnson, when you fully upgrade him, he's in a mech. So even Johnson is like the most badass ever. They also brought back the Arbiter from the first game, so that's pretty cool. Not like
Not the Arbiter, but
not Val Vadamine, but
Keith David, not that one.
yeah, it was the Arbiter from the
It's
first
so
game.
easy.
Or it's so easy.
You guys lost me. I don't know where that's at.
Is it
I think I checked out of that game way. Yeah.
Way.
Because
I was like,
get into it.
I was getting laid, fucking bitches, making money.
We're just being nerds, having a good time.
Yeah, sorry, I was like 12 when this was going on. So
Fucking nerds.
Yeah.
when Halo was at its prime, I was like fucking 10, 12 years old. So
I'll do more important things.
But I think Halo Wars 2 was pretty good. Is just the ending of the game actually did tie into a little bit with the Guardians.
dude,
5.
Halo 3 is old enough to vote now, and that hurts my heart. And they haven't remastered that one too. That pissed me off. When they said they weren't going to remaster 3, I was like, come on.
What?
Like the engine's there. All you had to do was just update the graphics, and I would have been happy.
Dude,
But
they had potential to do the exact same thing what they did to Halo 2 with 3.
right, and just bring in Blur Studios for their cinematics. Oh my god. The flood in Halo 2 that they did, they animated the flood so great in those cutscenes.
Oh my God,
The Grave Mine,
yeah.
fucking beautiful.
Fuck Rocket Flood, dude.
Like,
Fuck him so much.
I can show you after this, but like those fucking cinematics were just beautiful masterpiece.
Dude, like the SOG 2 for the WED section of what I think it was the Oracle. That's the name of the mission, right? When you have to go,
I think.
yeah.
Where the Grave Mine brings the Arbiter and Master Chief and kind of explains to them what the fucking.
well, no, this is before the Great Mind even made an appearance on Delta Halo.
Oh, okay.
Because they were going to the gas giant to a Forerunner gas extraction facility, and that's where they also had the flood too for some fucking reason.
Yep.
And it was dual purpose. It was for extracting the gas from the gas giant as well as the research on the flood. so they can figure out like how do we contain it, how do we take care of it, how do we get it out of our system, out of like any system that has
Turn the halos on, right?
It's also the
that would kill everything.
the site
Ooh,
itself.
that's right. Oops.
It was perfect for keeping flood on it because like they could have just dropped the whole fucking like lab,
Yeah,
or
lab
the
into the
extraction
giant.
site. They could have dropped the whole thing onto the planet and boom, you didn't have to worry about the flood.
It would rip it apart.
Yeah.
So that made perfect sense. It's just still like it's kind of wacky.
Yeah, I haven't. You think they just make a whole nother facility for something like that? But,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's logistics.
Yeah. With that being said, but the music for that particular the Banshee fight, that the one in the remaster because they couldn't get the
Yeah, it was Hoobastank. They couldn't get him to.
yeah, but that song was so fucking fire. It was so awesome. Both songs are fire, but dude, fucking just flying in the Heretic Banshees and everything was just beautiful. Especially the design of the Heretic Banshee. It had like this weird ass camo. It was like, oh shit, what? It was like a really burnt gold and like maybe like a maroon or like a darker maroon. And it was just beautiful the way the ship looked, the Banshee looked and all that. And it was only there for that one mission. It was nowhere else. And you could only, I think you were able to maybe play it in the original Halo 2 multiplayer, but I know for sure you could play it in the Anniversary Edition for the multiplayer. Which I love the fact that in the multiplayer, the Anniversary of Halo 2, they brought back the assault rifle, and that thing is a fucking beast. It is fucking insane.
I always like the tank.
The Scorpion.
Yeah, Scorpion. That's what they call it. Yeah.
Which one? The human one or the Covenant one?
There's
The human one.
Okay.
Yeah, the Wraith was cool too because I liked how it arced its shots.
Oh,
with
yeah.
artillery. Yeah, you
Well-
could do some really fun stuff in multiplayer with that. It was fun.
Yeah, you could do like
It was a good game.
when Matchmania was a thing, or Machinima, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Action Sack or like the custom game.
No, you like when they do
What was
like,
Machinima? What was Machinima?
Machinima, it was like it was a partnership between like creators. Essentially, it was like the middleman between like YouTube like creators
Yeah.
and like actually helping them organize to make money. Because originally on YouTube, the way you made money was like through a partnership. You
To
couldn't
the
get,
actual company.
yeah, you couldn't get monetized unless you had like a partnership deal.
Yeah.
And then they kind of democratized that. And you could argue that that was kind of the fall of YouTube is when they attached money to it. But it was a double-edged sword because in a way you could get people like Star Wars Theory who were able to fund like amazing projects and stuff
Yeah.
based off of like a community, like just one person starting a thing and then getting the ball rolling. Whereas
Well, that's
like
what they had-
originally when it first started, it was like you could upload your videos and that was
Yeah.
about it. Like there was no ads or nothing.
Because
Great.
that's how he used. What do you use that program? What will you get money from people? What's it?
Program.
Starts with a P.
Oh, Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon basically gave people to like actually
Yeah.
do more.
Or you could have like exclusive content for people who really cared about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that kind of setup.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Crowdfunding too.
That's-
Kickstarter
Yeah.
before they went woke
Yeah,
That
and GoFundMe.
yeah, those are all just ruined.
it just having the ability to give the fandom or the community the ability to put in money for these projects is just amazing. It's a good idea, and now with I'm just gonna call it corpo shit with like Halo Studios, all this type of shit. It's just going down the drain, literally in the toilet.
We could never get sponsors, right? We
No, we could.
We could.
like
It's
what? Like,
Raid Shadow Legends will sponsor anything with a fucking pulse. So
It's either Raid, Raycon.
the reason we can't right now, being as small as we are, is because we don't have like an LLC built for this. So
yeah. So
we have to
that's-
do that too.
in order to receive money. Otherwise, if we're taking it at an individual level, I think there's some like tax issues there that are like, who is the money going to? I don't think we should be discussing this on the podcast.
No. Okay, I know there's complications when it comes to that too. It's like,
Yeah.
But I mean, there are some pretty good ones that if we do, whatever.
because I like it if we could show like if we like show our short if we were made a short,
I would do underwear modeling too if Sheath Underwear ever wanted to sponsor us. I legit would take pictures of my fucking. I kind of want to try out that Sheath Underwear because it's got a pocket for your for your winky and for your balls. Like so, it keeps there's little pockets in your underwear, so it keeps it all separated, so it don't get all like fucking sweaty and gross. Yeah,
For your eggs and sausage.
yeah, Frank and beans.
Keeps it separate.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Would you take my sausage?
moisture wicking too. Yeah,
What?
it's like I thought about getting a pair for work, but yeah,
So we're gonna move on to my segment.
fuck yeah.
So we're gonna talk about Helldivers right quick.
I gotta pee.
So yeah.
What's the latest news?
I'm gonna go grab a water.
So the latest news about Helldivers is the two recent major orders. I'm going to talk about the second one because like holy shit, guys, pick a fucking place. But the last major order we had to defend 2 planets, and those 2 planets was Yulheim. I heard a pronunciation that it was called. Somebody said Julheim.
No, it's Yulheim.
Yeah, I kind of sat there. I was like, I don't
Not
know.
Joel.
Yeah,
It's not Bajork.
I know
It's not Bajork.
Bajork.
Is Bjork. Yeah.
Well, that was my question. I was about to ask you that because the festival Yule, the Yule time, because that's a Y, not a J. I was about to ask you about that. So would the J also make that sound too?
yeah.
Yule. Yeah. So we had to defend Yulheim and Duma Tur. I believe that was the name of the planet because one of them had the gas mines, the other one had the kids on it. Well, actually, young adults. Yeah, so the first, so when we had to do this the first time, it was between, what was it between?
Anti-tank mines.
Anti-tank mines and kids.
Yeah, just a little. But
Shit, I'm turning
no,
it
no,
on.
we're good.
Don't
You're
worry
good. I
about
already
it.
put the- I also want to show. I like showing off my patches.
Yeah, but the thing is like I don't really remember what other planet was. I know the Vernon Wells had the kids on it. That was the fuck. What was
It's like
it called?
what are the kids doing there?
it's like a
They were
children's
trapped.
hospital or something like that.
Oh,
they,
man.
They tied it into something real world to make it really cool, but just
Yeah, so that was when Johan was still either CEO or CCO, and he donated, and it was 431111, and that spelled out hell.
they donated that money to. I think it was.
Save the children.
Save the children.
Yes.
I'll fact check it and put it up. But
Yeah. But now we have the last major order. We had to do the same thing. Let me pull up the galactic map so I can actually get it right.
But there was a lot of memes about it too, where it was like, fuck them kids, we're getting fucking mines, dude. Like,
No,
but the fact that they actually were willing to donate to an actual like children's hospital thing,
Well,
Yeah, in real
that's
life.
cool. I think that's cool.
Okay, so it was the other way around. I said, "Fuck those mines. We're getting the kids."
No, I saw memes in the other direction where it was
Did
like,
you?
Yeah,
Where
those
did you
kids.
see those shit, man?
Okay, so they put out another Joel video. There's another one where he was
okay.
talking about it, and they were showing some of the memes where it's like, well, those kids are making a great sacrifice like, because we need those mines for democracy.
Yeah. So, fuck. What was it? This is not working on on this fucking shitty thing. So I'm just gonna use my fucking phone.
Chromebooks suck.
I know they suck dick.
They're good for just like quick Google and stuff. I like that.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna pull it out on here. So. Pull up the galactic map because what transpired during like the beginning hours of not probably the beginning hours, but it was close enough. We had to defend an attack on Bakvam 3. That was a very good entry point into the nanosector, and that held Yulheim, my bad, Yulheim and Duma Tur, which, speaking of which, Yulheim is the second planet in the Galactic War that had both factions on it. The Illuminate were on it, and now the Automaton, well, not really. They didn't even attack Yulheim. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about.
They're
but
the same
it could have
sector.
happened. Yulheim and Duma Tur. The bots were trying to push into Backman 3. That it's a little bit of ash.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it kind of dropped a little,
A little
bit.
ashy there.
Ashing up the joint. I need to put some lotion. But I don't know why I was talking on my ass about that. But the thing is, what happened was I was looking at the galactic map when I was playing, and each mission when I get off of it, I would consult the galactic map right away just to see how we're doing, how many people are on each planet, and all that type of stuff. I'm a huge fucking nerd for this. But I noticed something very, very fucking weird. As soon as we were we pushed into Backman 3, took it back, And then they were trying to push from Charon Prime into Charbel to go to Yulheim. I noticed that there was something very, very weird about the cards for the planets. And if I can find the meme, I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. But the... oh, here we are. This is not the meme I was trying to get at. But these letters, these glowing letters, they're like a light blue, kind of close to cyan, but a lot lighter. Those were popping up on certain planets. So during that time, I like to say that Jewel.
Oh, numbers. Numbers?
Those are the liberation rates. I like to say that it was Joel fucking up the Galactic War, but no, it was maintenance. But I still like the idea of it. But they were doing maintenance in their back end, and that's what transpired. Was these
Threw off the numbers?
these outrageous liberation rates on Charbel and Charbel and Charon, as well as on a Illuminate invaded planet and a Terminate planet, and we were able to knock it out within about maybe 3 hours. That's probably an exaggerated rate, but still, we were able to knock it out like easily, like immediately, and they put the Galactic War on hold. And when they did that, everything was paused. You can still go onto the planets. You can still do the missions. You can still get your super credits, your rec slips, medals, all sorts. But the only thing that was different about it was there was no liberation happening. Everything was literally put on hold.
Oh, wow.
So, with that being said, a lot of the community, at least the meme side, called it the Winter Truce. Yeah, the Winter Truce. So there's a lot of memes too, especially during World War I. Remember when it was Christmas time and everybody just ceasefire?
Yeah,
and it was basically that.
Oh, wow.
That was quote unquote happening when everything kind of went down.
Like the German and the Western soldiers were like for one night they were like playing soccer or something.
Soccer, Christmas trees,
bullshitting
showing
with each other.
Yeah, bullshitting. And
It was a humanizing moment for both sides.
yeah, it was humanizing. Yeah. When it came down to the last, when the last hour of the 24 happened, that we went straight back to war. And they said that if anybody says differently, what happened in the past 24 hours, you were mind controlled by Illuminate and you need to go for a psyche eval. And that's what they said. And that was funny.
So
I laughed at it.
In real life, they put it in the game. Like, this is,
Yeah. But my
Art,
own,
imitating life, imitating art. Yeah.
yeah, my only issue is Joel did not continue on with his rampage. He stopped. That was my issue. He didn't take this time and opportunity, because especially seeing that the DSS had no active modifiers on, and it was on a planet that everybody voted for, and it was still within the 4 hour limit, the 4 hour resting hour time, whatever. I don't know what the fuck I call it. But he could have attacked, but he didn't, and that was kind of bothering me. I was like, "What's going on? Is
It's
Joel?"
a ceasefire.
I know it went back.
Maintenance,
It went back into combat immediately after the 24-hour period, and I was like, "Why didn't he attack? Why didn't Joel do anything?" I guess he was just waiting for like the major order to go out so he could put in the new bot major order. It's a bot in Illuminate major order.
There's already a black hole creeping its way towards Super Earth. I don't know how much more dark and gloomy you could make it.
So my question is for both of you, because I'm having a conundrum, because I know what's going to happen because of all the data leaks and everything like that.
I don't know if I want to be spoiled on this.
Well, I kind of want to tell you, but I'm just going to leave it out. I know what's going to happen. I know what the bots have in store for us. I know that for sure. But is it better to handle a future threat, or is it better to handle the immediate threat? Because this current major order, we have to defend, I believe, 4 Illuminate attacks, or take Coral, take Coral, and prevent the automatons from taking the Mantle complex. Because the Mantle complex, if a lot of people would know about this, It was a part of like, I don't know, like 4-stage or 5-stage major order to where we had to acquire these planets to help build the DSS up. And there we go. The Deep Mantle Forge was one of them, and the automatons want to take it for their crazy machinations and all that type of stuff to do their thing. Now, the Illuminate are sending the Meridian. Actually, I was going to look up exactly what we had to do, but the Illuminate were they are sending Meridia to in a collision course with Moridash, which was the former facility of Dark Fluid. That what started this whole thing.
Oil.
It started the whole thing.
Well, it might be refined from the in-game oil, but that comes from the bugs.
Yeah. So it says here, delay the Singularity's advance towards Moridash or defend the Deep Mantle Forge on Corel from the automatons. Either hold or defend 8 attacks from the Illuminate. If we defend 8 attacks, we would have a better knowledge on how to stop the Meridian Singularity from taking Moridash. To stop the Singularity a bit further, to keep it at bay. And that's what the whole point of attacking these guys. And I just saw a meme recently, and I agree with it. And it said, bug divers only, bot divers only, and Illuminate divers only dedicating 1/3 into the major order. And I was like, yeah, that's the one issue. And I also figured out that there's like a small sect of people that don't understand how the DSS works, and as well as they're not getting this information from any type of source. And I don't blame them, because look, you come home from work, you want to wind down, and you want to play a little bit of Helldivers. Who actually gives a shit, right? And that we had this discussion when
there's different types of players, where there's the hardcore people like you that care about the major orders, and then there's the other people who just get on because they want to shoot some bugs.
Yeah, I do care a little bit about the major orders, but it depends on which one it is. If it's a bug one, I don't really give a shit. Until the last recent too, with the bugs, the Predator strain and the Spore Burst, the Spore Burst strain, those were fun. Those added a lot more tact with the bugs.
Yeah, I'm usually one of those people that likes fighting the bugs, and I can just kind of turn my brain off and jetpack around everywhere and like just go do objectives, collect super credits, all that fun. When we were fighting the Gloom Stalkers,
It would be the Predator strain.
When we were fighting those dudes, I kind of had to think a little bit more while I was playing, because they were tougher, especially on the difficulties we were playing.
Well, they weren't. I wouldn't say they were necessarily tougher. They were more quick. They're.
Well, I don't mean like physically tougher. I mean just you had to put more thought into the combat interactions,
especially with the Predator Hunter. That one was it was faster. When it tried to apply the acid debuff, it spit on you, and it could go invisible. That was the issue, and the invisibility came from the Predator Stalker, which now they're actually fighting them for a little bit, understanding exactly what they brought to the table. Instead of being them being a reskin, they were able to. They have a really, if we're going off of New Vegas or Fallout 3. They had a really high perception, so if they saw you, in some cases, they instantly started running towards you.
They had a higher sense of where you're at.
And they were basically just repainted stalkers, so they were fast, they hit hard, and they will kill you within 2 or 3 swipes, depending on the armor you're wearing. And they would come out of bug breaches. So when a bug farts up in the air and calling his buddies,
releasing pheromones,
they would pop up, and you would see them like literally crawl out of the ground and then go right for you. They would charge you immediately. I remember there was multiple people that had like different ways of handling the bugs, but this one was a more foolproof way, and it handled the bugs very well during the Predator strain, and that was a Gatling turret and a machine gun. It was a gas guard dog, the cookout, and for some reason, I don't know why I kind of just like wholeheartedly went with this entire loadout, but it was the heavy armor from the Urban Legends. I went with that one, and I kind of sat there. I was like, "What? Why this one?" But I used it and I enjoyed it, and I handled the missions by myself. I could handle the Predator strain by myself easily. They were never the issue unless if there was gangs, like the patrols, and then you would see like 20 fucking stalkers, Predator stalkers with 20 Predator hunters, and then like a shit ton of little guys, and they could just all rush you, and they just fucking stomp your shit in. But I never had that issue because, one, I was in a group most of the fucking time when I was playing against them, and three, I target what is the most, what has the top priority for me, and that would be the hunters because they're fast, they could do a lot more damage now, and I just take them out, and then I would focus on the bigger enemies. So basically, you have to prioritize what enemy type and all that. It used to be like bigger enemies, impalers, chargers, bile titans, and then now it was just like you have to take care of the fastest motherfuckers. They were hyped up on speed and just like injecting these fucking things into them. They didn't really do that, but it was like fucking morphine, speed, fucking did crack cocaine, all this stuff. Ether. But that was essentially what was happening during those two things. And then when we get into the gloom, you had to stay away from the bugs because the spore burst is literally they burst into spores. As soon as you pop them, they explode in a fart cloud, and it would apply a buff similar to acid. I would believe it would be acid, but sometimes it didn't work. Sometimes it did. I'm not too sure how to describe it. And going into what was that planet called? But going into the gloom for the first time ever was just amazing because they had bug planet. The bugs had cities on them, and there was like shit columns towering in the sky, and it was just a fun time on those planets because you're like, this is a bug city, and they added new nest variants and all this type of stuff. During this time too, they added not only the Predator strain, but they also added a new bug hole, and that was the Titan one. And holy shit, I didn't like that at all. Yeah, it was 4E Prime when that was the first expedition into the gloom. But now with this new major order, at level 38 on Coral is just like everybody's having a hard time, and then everybody's kind of split with the Illuminate front. And now, instead of from like 2s to 3s, we're going up to 4s now. And that's when all the liberation progress slowly begins to die off. Not only that, it's also the week. It's not weekend, it's the week. So a lot of people are going back to work, going back to school. You know, they have other things planned, all this type of stuff. I don't know why it kind of sounds like that. I'm like, oh, we needed more people on. No, life comes first when it comes to these things. They always do. And if somebody is like putting Helldivers above like actual like events, hanging out with your friends, you know, whatever, it's just, what are you doing? Hey, you should like unmute him.
You were muted for a while there. I feel bad.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh.
Yeah,
I'm fucking spacing out. Sorry.
Yeah. Am I that boring?
No, but you don't.
No.
But you don't have a life. So
Fuck off.
that's all you do.
Well, I'm kind of the inverse of that, where it's like I do my other job on the weekends, so I'm able to get on more. Not so much right now because I'm backlogged on editing. But
Yeah.
like that was my time when I could actually hop on and like spend multiple hours playing Helldivers is on weekdays. So I'm able to kind of flatten the curve on that a little bit.
I play.
Yeah, we're doing D&D now again.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I think it's on the same schedule as
as
the podcast, like 2 weeks, and then we play.
Yeah,
do
every
it
other
again.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that first night, man, I cried.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Spent the night in the silo. That was fun.
Yeah,
I had to take a nap, man. Jeez.
yeah. You were you like
Oh man,
75 or something like that, right?
I didn't go to sleep. Right.
Yeah. You just conked out, and I opened a door that was tied to a.
You knew it was trapped. You opened it anyway.
Yeah, I thought I was fast enough though. That was the issue.
no.
Well, I asked the DM, and I was like, "Do I see it? Do I see the trap?" And he was like,
No.
I informed you there was a trap.
"I know," but I kept asking him because if I see it, if I sense it in some sort of way, because I'm playing a barbarian, I have danger sense. And then he
Well,
was,
your sense should have been going crazy because I said, "Hey, that door's trapped."
and then he was trying to say, "You got disadvantage on a deck save." I was like, "No, I don't."
And do you want to talk about the other thing you're trying to pitch?
Fuck.
Yeah,
God
it's probably,
damn it.
we still got like another 30 minutes. So yeah.
Fuck.
you
I even like had help with this. It's supposed to be some sort of fucking script that I had help with.
So what's the subject about? You wanted to bring this up, and we were like,
It's
"Dude,
about- it's
you've lost me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about."
Do you want me to read the script?
You're the one blocking yourself right now, but keep talking.
Oh, fuck off.
Share it. Share with the class. Come on.
I'm trying to share with the class. Give me a second.
Come on, man.
I am in it. There we go. So, Grok helped me out a little bit with this.
Shout out Grok.
Shout out to Grok.
Ooh, after you're done, I got my own Grok story. So
So,
No, we're not going to spend like fucking 30 minutes on this, right?
no,
gonna,
we're not.
Like 10.
No, we're not. We're
5?
I could probably pump out 10, but 5, good luck, buddy. So I'm just going to read off a little bit from the script. Just as today, I'm talking about Petscop. If you know what that is, well, you're here in the right place.
one more time. Like I think I'm hearing
Petscop.
Petscop.
Okay.
Okay.
PET.
I was hearing Pet Scott.
Shut up.
I don't think this
Shut
game is
the
real.
fuck. It's not. Shut up.
I don't think this game is
Be
real.
quiet.
I don't think it's real.
Be quiet. Okay. If you've never heard of it, don't worry. It's not some obscure PS1 game you've missed out on. It's a YouTube series disguised as a let's play of a fictional, unfinished game. Shut up. And it's one of the creepiest, most fascinating pieces of internet storytelling I've ever stumbled across. It's got a cute little creatures called pets, a bright pastel surface, and then bam, a dark, cryptic underbelly that hooks you in and doesn't let go. What I really want to unpack is how Petscop brushes up against a real-life tragedy, the case of Candace Elizabeth Newmaker. If the name doesn't ring a bell, she was a 10-year-old girl who died in 2000 during a horrific rebirthing therapy gone wrong. It's a heartbreaking story, and Petscop echoes it in ways that feel deliberate, but not as a straight retelling. Shut the fuck up. This is about symbolism, not a documentary. So let's dig into Petscop, Candace's story, and where they intersect. Or don't. Buckle up. This is a ride. Go ahead.
Okay. So put a pause on that. Let's talk a little bit more about that situation, the real life thing that happened.
Yeah.
That this is kind of based off of.
Yeah, so let me pull up the... we're going to wiki. Wiki.
Like I'm more intrigued by that.
Yes,
So I think this, the video you got this from, I don't think this is a real game.
No, he just explained it there.
It's
where
not a real game.
he
that-
just explained... I just
that-
said it in
Him
the
reading
thing.
off that script there confirmed what I was thinking. That it's
Yeah.
not a game. It's like an alternate reality YouTube series type dealio, similar to like the Backrooms or
Yeah.
like the Rolling Giant.
Here is the synopsis, just like the beginning of it. Candace Elizabeth Newmaker, born Candace Tiara Elmore, born in November 1989, April 19, 2000, that's when she died, was a child who was killed during a 70-minute attachment therapy session performed by 4 unlicensed therapists, purported...
Shout out BetterHelp.
Yeah. Okay. To treat reactive attachment disorder, or RAD, the treatment during which Newmaker was suffocated, including a rebirthing script. She was wrapped in flannel to represent a womb and told to free herself while 4 adults, the unlicensed therapists, used their hands and feet to push down on Candace's small body, making it impossible for her to move or breathe. This resulted in her death.
Jesus.
Okay, so what happened to those people? They went to jail?
They
I
better be
think
in
so.
jail.
I didn't really go into the whole wiki article. The video that I watched was from Winnegoon, and he did talk about it, but he didn't go into depth about the whole Newmaker case until later into the his 3-hour, holy shit, by the way,
Yeah.
3-hour video.
Dude, I love those because I just put them on at work.
Dude, I was watching.
So he spent 3 hours talking about this?
Yes.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Mainly about the YouTube video game thing.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
But
So it's just it's fiction, right?
Everything except for this case.
Except for this
It's
case.
based
Okay,
on this actual incident that happened. That even hearing it,
I
I'm
could
like, what
just
the fuck.
I could just forego the script right now and read you exactly this right here. This segment for the weekly article is called "Attachment Therapy and Death." Candace and Gene Newmaker traveled to Evergreen, Colorado in April 2000 for a $7,000 2-week intensive.
Wow.
I didn't get that quotation, that thing in there. Intensive session of attachment therapy, while Colleen Watkins, who was without a license, upon a referral from William Globe, a licensed psychologist in North Carolina. Candace died during the second week of the intensive sessions with Watkins during what has been called a rebirthing session. Participating in the fatal session as therapists were Watkins and Julie Ponder, also without a license, along with Candace's therapeutic foster parents, Bretta St. Clair, Jack McDaniel, and Gene Newmaker. Following the script of the day's treatment, Candace was wrapped in a flannel sheet covered with pillows to simulate a womb or a birth canal, and was told to fight for her life, fight her way out. My bad. With the apparent exception that the experience would help her attached to her adoptive mother. 4 of the adults weighing a combined total of 673 pounds or 300. I'm not even going to read that. That's demon numbers right there. The kilograms.
That sounds like some crazy occult shit.
It
right
is.
there.
It sounds like some really crazy shit. Use
She's
their
not 10 years
hand-
old or what?
Yeah, it was 10,
Doesn't make
yeah.
any sense at all. So they killed the girl, basically.
Basically, the rest of the article says, use their hands and feet to push on Candace's head, chest, and 70-pound body to resist her attempts to free herself. While she complained, pleaded, and even screamed for help and air, unable to escape from the sheet. Candace stated 11 times during the session that she was dying, to which Ponder responded, go ahead, die right now, for real, for real. 20 minutes into the
Who's
session.
recording this?
They are. The people who were...
the unlicensed therapist. That's so
20
fucked
minutes
up.
into the session, Candace had vomited and excreted inside of the sheet. She was nonetheless kept restrained within.
Wow.
40 minutes into the session, Candace was asked if she wanted to be reborn. She faintly responded, no, this would ultimately be her last word. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that because oh my fucking God. I'm just reading the
is
rest
murdered.
of the... I heard the audio recording of this video.
Oh,
from,
what?
Yeah, from
Dude,
Pyro
oh.
Cynical.
Oh, I don't think I can.
No.
Oh, I can't listen to this. This is just depressing. That's so depressing. Oh my God.
This is in 2020.
No,
2000.
2000.
Yeah.
Oh.
April of 2000. And the only reason why is because one of the people, specifically Ponder, said to her, replied with quitter, 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 quit, quit.
has
She's
all
a
right,
quitter.
all right, we get it. So is there any other stories like this where they've tried this kind of bullshit therapy and
I
got a result?
Yeah, I want to know if this was like a one-time dealio, or
Yeah.
if they were scamming people with other stuff, or if they were like legit
Yeah.
running like an
They-
occultist type fucking.
I wouldn't say it was a cultist type thing.
So you
it
don't
seems
know.
like they were more in it for
You
the
have no
money.
answer, so you don't know. Is it
For-
just-
my reading on this
I
is
think
that-
it's- I think
Would you
this-
shut up, man.
I think it's a bullshit story. That's what I think.
well, I read it as an adoptive parent not able to bond with their child,
Mm-hmm.
and then thinking, okay, well, I can just pay these guys, and then then she'll love me.
That's what
But-
that's what rad is.
God, that's awful.
Let me pull up rad right quick.
I don't believe
Reactive
this is
attachment.
real.
It
No,
happened.
This
so
is a
it's-
thing that happened. That's
So it's real.
but attachment therapy. That sounds like some pseudoscience bullshit there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so RAD is described in clinical literature as a severe disorder that can affect children, although these
Oh,
issues...
so that's a real, okay.
Yeah. These issues do occasionally persist in adulthood. RAD is characterized by markedly disturbed and developmental, inappropriate ways of relating socially in most contexts. It can take the form of a persistent failure to initiate or respond to some social interactions in a developmental appropriate
Well,
way.
these are just, yeah, that's enough of that, man. I don't want to hear more of other shit.
Yeah, let's get back into the
it's-
game part of the
So,
fucking- what
It's
based
just
off
basically when you're a foster kid, you're screwed for life. That's it. You're done.
Yeah,
There's no saving those kids.
I wouldn't really say it like that, but
No,
They are, man. Where
I think there is hope. I think that you can,
but they are
develop-
screwed.
You're definitely set back a lot further though.
Oh,
than
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So
There's a trauma.
there's a really good analogy for it, and it's firmware updates.
What?
So if we're putting it in computer terms, if you have a good, stable family life, I should say, childhood. There we go. You would have good, consistent firmware updates. You will always be updated. You know, you would have more stability, all this type of stuff. Now, when it comes to being an orphan, you get random patches. That's all you get. And sometimes those could be really bad.
Yeah.
With the content that I'm talking about right now, it sounds horrific and morbid the way I'm talking about this, but that's a really good analogy to show off how this, like how the foster care system for orphans and all this type of stuff is just downright fucking terrible sometimes. Sometimes you get lucky. You get like a really good family that could take good care of you and all this type of stuff.
That's the what was it? There were some family members in my grandfather's siblings. He was the oldest male, and there was a time back then where two of his sisters, younger sisters, were given away to other relatives because my great grandmother and great grandfather couldn't take care of the kids because they were either neglectful or they were just so poor that they just couldn't afford them. And my grandmother had my great grandmother had like 13, 12 kids.
Jeez, damn.
Yeah, and my grandfather was the oldest male, second oldest sibling. She had a child before, and then my grandfather was born. He was oldest male, but she wasn't. The first one wasn't really. She was blood related to the mother, but to my great grandmother, but not my great grandfather. So she apparently was raped or something. I think it happened by one of her uncles, and so she ended up keeping it. And then my grandfather came along later on, but some of those sisters later on were actually given to other cousins because they just and there was a lot of animosity with them towards the family, because their mother and father gave them up, and so like screw you, I hate you, like why'd you have
resentment
that? Yeah, a lot of resentment there, and I noticed that too with when I was doing genealogy in my past. I had a buddy of mine that I was hanging out with. He's kind of crazy. He's a veteran. He's a crazy guy too, a little crazy, but he was adopted and. He had a lot of resentment towards his mother and father, but he didn't know who they were, and he just had a lot of resentment toward it. And yeah, I can see how. Yeah, that happens.
In an orphan, it's like you don't have any way to direct that anger.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
you have an idea, but you don't have a physical manifestation to be like you're the reason.
So you just vent out on everything that's there, and that's like these little kids that are 10 years old. Like my God, man, good luck with that. Because I when I was in the guard, one of the guys I think he was a sergeant. He had a foster home, and they would bring in kids. They would bring in kids to take care of them. And they get paid for it too, and try to help these kids out. And hopefully they go on to something better. But yeah, it had some pretty messed up stories, like especially like little girls not understanding what love really means, and it's more physical. They think that's love. And like, no, it's not.
No.
So that's where it was like, holy crap. It gets really ugly. Like, oh my God. So like I'm saying, like, God, there should be a license on having kids, man, or something, man, because that doesn't.
We get into weird territory on that, but I hear where that's coming from.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty sad.
I'm just going to read bits and pieces from the script. I'm not going to read the entire thing because it is fucking long. But the first section is called "What is PetScop?" First, let's set the stage, all right? Just do the thing. There we go.
We traveled back in time again.
We're traveled back in time. No. PetScop hit YouTube in 2017, starring with a video from a channel also called PetScop, where a guy named Paul boots up the supposed PlayStation game from 1997, made by a fictional company called Garlina. Early on, it's deceptively simple. Paul's wandering around a colorful world called Even Care, catching quirky pets by solving puzzles. You've got Amber, a ball who loves her cape, or Randus, a flower who is always fighting with her bird body. Tonith, it's oddly charming until it's not. A few videos in, Paul enters a cheat code with the game cracks. Then the game cracks open. He drops into the New Maker plane, a vast dark field with cryptic objects, eerie music, and a vibe that mostly deeply. Oh my goodness. We'll try this again. And a vibe that is mostly deeply wrong. From there, Petscop spirals into a narrative about trauma, family secrets, and mysterious figure named Rainer, who might have created the game. It's not just a game anymore. It's a puzzle box of symbols and subtext. And this is where I would go more in depth about the Candace Newmaker case and the reactive attachment disorder. But I'm not going to talk about that because from what is displayed to me is about 12 to 15 minutes long. So I'm not going to do that. Although I actually requested it from Grok. But we're going to move on. That's 15 to 17. Okay. We're going to move on to why it matters. There's a lot of context just being missing out. But this matters because it shapes how we see Petscop. If it's about Candace, it could feel exploitative, a cheap true crime ripoff. But as a symbolic layer, it's a gut punch. A way to root fiction in a real human pain without claiming it. Tony dialed back the New Maker stuff after episode 10. Episode 10 probably because fans like me, I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but it was quite enjoyable to learn about, fixated too much, missing the bigger picture. Petscop's heart is Paul, Care, and Rainer. These are the three characters inside this Petscop universe. Not a rad case study, which is reactive attachment disorder. Still, those nods hit hard. They make you feel the weight of trauma, Candace's, or even just an idea of a kid like her in a way of pure fiction might not. For me, that's why Petscop sticks. It's not just a game, it's a creepy unease that pulls from life's dark edges without copying them outright.
Is there any information on the person who made it this? Like, is he trying to say something?
So the guy that made it, Tony,
who created this whole creepy pasta story, basically.
Yeah. I'm not too sure exactly.
Is he schizophrenic?
Definitely creative.
It's really creative.
But a fucking weird fucking way, man.
Yeah.
Okay, because he came in earlier.
Oh, fuck off.
And he was telling me this, and I could not.
I'm not very good at telling stories.
Yeah, I could not. Like, what are you talking about? And it was really hard to understand what the hell he was talking about. It's like, okay, I want to know what you're talking about, but it was really hard for me to understand that. But this whole thing just reminds me of schizophrenia. That's why I'm like, oh my god, you got to get away from this because it's gonna fuck me. I'm gonna get infected.
The mind
with
virus.
Schizophrenia. Jesus Christ.
It's not that deep, bro. It's not that deep.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's fucking. It's like, oh my god.
And now here's the outro. The outro. All right, that's my deep dive into Petscop, Candace Newmaker, in the shadow of Rad. Wild how a fake game can feel so real, right? If this hooked you, check out the series, 24 videos, free on YouTube. Don't know why you have to say that. Worth every creepy minute. Or dive into Petscop Wiki, which is real. It's a rabbit hole. Now, I'm not going to say this part because it's wanting me to be like, back to you guys. What do you think? Any of your segments vibe with the video game's adjacent weirdness? No. Thanks for letting me ramble. I could talk about Petscape all day.
You're so quirky, bro.
I'm so quirky.
But what's really cool is that you use Grok to.
Yeah.
That's
So
that's the real cool thing here.
So do you want the story on why I wanted to do this?
Yes.
Because
22.
Holy fucking shit, that is horrific. Even just thinking about it again is just fucking terrible.
Let's get off of that.
Yeah. So we're going to move on. We're going to talk about unicorns and bunnies now.
Oh, I was gonna go back to
Like,
Grok.
go to Grok, yeah, because
actually,
what's
no,
cool
talk about Grok, yeah.
was that he had that whole script and Grok helped him. I was like,
Yeah.
God damn,
So-
that's incredible.
When I've heard Elon talk about Grok,
Yeah.
he said I forget exactly where he pulled it from. I'll cite something up here, but he says that the term Grok is to come to a deeper understanding. And holy shit, does yes.
Grok is way too nice.
Like just as an example, here's
You got
my
raunchy mode too.
the Unhinged.
Unhinged,
Yeah, he was
raunchy.
showing that off on the Joe Rogan Experience. That was cool.
Pretty funny, yeah.
But to get into my little side tangent here, like let me set the stage.
Great, go ahead.
So, from a young age, I learned about slurs.
Yeah.
Slurs are fun, right? They're fun.
Yes.
But there was a few that just like they didn't make sense to me. And the best example I can give, this is the one I asked Grok about because I'm trying to learn Japanese. But if you take Japanese and you shorten it down to the first 3 letters, and I'm not going to do that anymore because I understand more about the slur. It came from a place of not understanding. Is why I thought it was absurd that like if you're just shortening what they are, like it's Japanese, you're just shortening it down so it's a little more easier to understand. Like just the first 3 letters. I'm not going to say it, but I asked Grok. I was like, so why is this considered a slur? Like it's just abbreviations, and it blew me out of the water with its explanation here because it comes back all the way down to like the Silk Road and Marco Polo. What? Yes. So when Marco Polo established the Silk Road, he was going and trading with the Chinese, and the way he learned about the Japanese is through the Chinese themselves explaining it, and like their translations got a little mixed. So if you ask a Japanese person to explain what they are, they're going to say they're Nihon or Nihonjin. That's what it is. It's, I think Nihon it's Japan, the land of the rising sun. I think roughly translates that. I might be a little wrong here, but follow me. So they're Nihonjin. They're not Japanese. That
Right.
comes from a mistranslation between the characters in Chinese describing them. That's what Marco Polo picked up on that. So then when he comes back and tells everybody about it, that's where it gets lost in translation. So they're getting offended because no, that's not me. That's not that string of sounds does not describe what I am. I'm not Japanese. I'm Nihonjin. So a similar example that Grok also explained was how in Germany they're not German. They're from Deutschland. Deutschland.
Yeah. Well, same thing that we were talking about this. How
Yeah, I think I talked to you about this before.
I never liked the idea of like if I was I had a buddy of mine that was the guy was a police officer. It's like, John, would you like to say your name? And he goes, John Freeman. And he go, he'd say his name, whatever, and then he's like, no, that's Juan. And he goes, no, it's John. Shit like that. So like when someone tells me in Spanish, your name is Carlos, he goes, no, it's Charles. Whatever name I'm using, right? No, it's not Carlos, it's Charles. So that's the idea was I never liked the idea of when we went to Germany, I call it München. Not Munich. It's München. That's the way they say it. They're Deutsche, they're Deutsche. That's who they are. I'm American, I'm American. Mexicano, Mexicano. Canadian, Canadian, whatever. You say in their language. What's wrong with that? How fucking hard is that to do? So Nippon Jin, that's how you say Japan?
Nihonjin.
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 I thought it was
Nihonjin.
Mexican.
The whole the whole Rach thing, the Spanish got rid of Mexico, and so you're supposed to do it Mexico. You're supposed to do more of a growl there. The Spanish, when they came to North America, they had their issue with the Arabics, right?
Okay.
The Moors.
Yes.
Yeah,
So any kind of sounding whatever, when they like the way they talk, they fucking hated that, right? And they wanted to get rid of that. So the Mexicans, when the Mexicans said that we're Mexicano, they go, no, you're Mexican. They put the X or Mexicano. Mexicano. They put the X there
Okay.
to get rid of that because they hated because the Arabs and during the Moor invasion, basically. So yeah, I totally agree with like if you're gonna say how do you say Japan in Japanese, you say Nihonjin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I understand, like, just for clarity's sake, like, languages are like operating systems. So we all have the base English operating system. And then whereas, like, if you're running a different operating system, not everything's going to connect one-to-one. At least, like, pronunciation-wise, too. That's another big barrier there. But I think if everybody kind of understands that, where it's like, Yeah, there's like shorthands that have to be developed in order for like communication to like flow smoothly.
So Grok told you this?
Yes.
Holy crap.
I find myself asking Grok a lot more like questions now, where it's like when a thought pops into my head, instead of like doing a Google search, which like Google AI kind of sucks, but Grok is able to go much more on a deeper dive, and then at the very end of like every single response it gives is like, if you'd like to know anything else or any specifics, like you just let me know. I can go a little bit deeper.
It's like talking to the computer in Star Trek, like the computer.
When I was doing the script too,
how long did that take to do that?
He asked me the exact same thing, like, would you like to know more? And he was like, I know you wrote a script, but I was like, he was like, I just want to know, do you want it to make it longer? Do you want to make it shorter? I'm not done yet.
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
so when you were look, enough of the fucking bad words, right? When you were asking Grok, did Grok know about this subject?
He knew about it as soon as he started typing. He said everything about it and everything like that, especially the format that he gave to me.
Yeah.
Which I'm just going to be like, Elon, what the hell? So I'm really quickly, I tried copying it, and I was like, I'm just going to put this on Discord. And it came out as a text file.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Compression. It'll fill up your clipboard if you try to do it.
Yeah, I know, but
okay.
I figured that out after like the second time I tried doing it. I was like, okay, whatever. But I don't know where Grok. I think he gets it from like all over the internet.
Its training model is the internet and tweets.
Yes. And one of the sources that he did get was from a tweet thread that he told me. He told me about a tweet thread.
So it knew more about this subject of your what's the game called again?
Petscop.
Petscop. It knew more about Petscop than you. Well, you knew a little bit about it, but
I knew a little bit, yeah.
But it gave you more information than holy crap.
Everything that anybody has ever said, like related to Petscop, it immediately is.
It was able
like,
to find it, and give
referencing
them
its training
everything.
data and going, all right, pull.
How long did it take you to do that?
So I need to pull it up on my. Because it started on my desktop, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna be like, hey Grok, I need help with this. Can you help me make a script?
Are you paying for this?
I'm paying for the.
You pay for this? You pay for this?
No, I can't wait till you hit
I need
puberty.
to do this too.
So you can get it on your phone. Actually, I have
essentially you get a lot of free stuff with Grok, like just for base Twitter. But like if you want, like, it limits you to a certain amount of queries per day and a certain amount of images per day. And even on the level I'm on, because I'm not like Premium Plus, I'm on the basic.
So I can use Grok for my shit.
Yes.
Because all I'm doing for like mine, that's amazing. Okay, so what I'm doing for mine basically is using notes.
Yes.
And every time I come across new information, I'm just going to put the new information here, and I just add it in here.
Yeah,
So I basically, like, at the end, by the time we get to to Homo sapien, basically, I can give you a rundown of every single thing because I'm writing it here. But you're saying Grok could do all of this?
Do you want to see the format if you were to make a
I want to
script?
see it later on because that's
if you
cool.
tailor your questions.
So within an hour, you were done. Within an hour, you.
It was more like 15 minutes.
What?
You definitely proofread everything because there's a few times where I've kind of
That's the one thing I did.
a little silly.
But it
didn't
actually
really
helped
look at
you
it,
put it into a script where you can actually talk about it and go through
And also, he didn't delve into this. I know that for sure because he clearly did not write a script with.
I've never tried anything.
Is this the first time you've done this?
The first time I've done it, and he asks you, Grok will ask you like, how do you want the tone of
Is it
your
a voice?
He doesn't tell. He doesn't.
Not yet. The actual app itself, yes.
I want to know what the voice is going to be.
You can change it. You can make it a girl. You can make it a dude. You can make it whatever.
I'll make it a girl.
Yeah.
Talk to me, baby.
Talk to me. But
Holy crap.
he asked me like, how do you want your script to sound? Do you want it to sound casual? Do you want it to sound informative?
Do you want to sound angry?
Angry or
will
something
do
like that.
that.
It just asks you, how do you want the tone of your script to be?
That's amazing.
And I said, I want it to be informative. Because I'm the type of guy, especially with the whole storytelling thing.
We talked about that, yeah.
But I like the idea of having every single bit of information at my disposal to have a clear picture of what it is. Yeah. As soon as Grok was talking about the new maker case.
The little girl that got killed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
new maker.
Yeah, that's the real life one.
Yeah.
And he said something about the reactive attachment disorder, and I saw it on the wiki, and I was like, "Tell me more about that."
Damn.
And he pulled it up, and also in the script, it was talking about the actual like the percentages of like kids having rad, and some sources said it was 1%, but it was more like 10%. There's 10% of kids, orphans, practically, or even in family households, depending on how shitty the parents are, that would
I got 1%.
well, yeah, that that would cause this to happen. That would have rad to happen, and that's what he talked about. That's what he put into the script for me to talk about, which I didn't touch on.
Wow.
But as soon as I tried Grok, and I sat there, I was like, this is what AI is supposed to be. It's supposed to help you.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful tool.
And but the one thing I don't really like him saying is like, "Oh, you wrote this script pretty good," and I kind of sat there, I was like, "No, I fucking didn't."
Yeah, but it took your input to make it happen.
Yeah.
So
So it's
that's why
not
the
me
computer
writing.
gives you the credit.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but it's just like I didn't write it. He helped me.
Because it would have probably taken you
It would have probably taken me at least 2 hours.
No, but to actually do all the research and to find all the videos and everything and everything you could associate with that subject, it would take you fucking weeks.
Standing on
days.
the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
Yeah, well, if I actually paid attention last night, it would have been like 3 hours, 27 minutes and some change. Because that's how long Wendigoon's video was.
I wonder if he did that.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that too. It was like
Sneaky bastard.
some of these video essay people are definitely got to be using AI to help speed up the process. But I would say if you're just relying purely on language models like Grok or ChatGPT to do all the work for you, that's when cracks are going to start to show.
Yeah, they're going to show. Yeah.
For people who actually
Because-
like vet the information they're given.
That would be because I think, man, we're going to talk about this later and see if I can actually put it in mine.
Yeah, you
if
can
I
do-
can
yeah.
use it for
Yeah.
my shit,
Definitely.
You got an
Holy-
X account, bro. You got an X account.
I do, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then you're set. That's all you have to do.
But it wanted me to buy it. I'll show you where I'm at.
Okay.
I have to. What's at the? I don't have it here. I have it at my house. Damn.
Like
That's incredible, dude.
I said, you can actually get it on your phone. I have the app.
I'll look at it. Yeah.
So,
I'll download it. But you tried the same thing too.
Down for the app.
Like,
or-
did you use Grok for something, or would you?
yeah, I whenever I have like a thought pop into my head and like I want the vast internet to like
give me the answer.
yeah, just give me a jumping off point essentially.
Yeah.
And it's really good for that.
Because that's man, that is incredible.
Yeah,
That's a part. It's just another tool. Well, golly.
Something else I used it for is like, okay, so Windows 10 machines, they try to do all this like shit, like get your fucking like Microsoft Edge account, like all that stuff set up, and
Edge.
like it's really annoying because every time, or not every time, but every like month or so when I boot up my computer, it'll pull up that Windows thing. It's like, you haven't finished your account yet. Would you like to do that? Or remind me later. It only gives you the option to remind me later. And I took a picture of it. And I sent it to Grok, and I was like, hey, is there any way to disable this on startup? And it was like, oh yeah, you go to the registry key, you go change this, and then. But be aware, if you're playing with these things, you can really fuck up your computer. So if you're not, it was telling me if you're not comfortable doing this, just hit remind me later. Just like deal with it as that, because I realize it's a slight inconvenience. But if you do actually want to fix it, you go into your registry editor and you edit this key, and then it.
was it telling you this, or were you reading this?
No, I was reading. I don't have the app on Android yet. It's
What?
he did the exact same thing to me. Grok did. I asked him like,
it'll warn you.
well, it wasn't anything about like computer stuff or whatever, but I noticed that on the app, the chat log that I had with Grok wasn't on there. So I was like, how do I fix this? What is my issue here? Because it's supposed to be.
You're typing these questions in.
And he told me word by word and how to do it. And I was like, I know exactly what you're telling me. I'm doing exactly what you want, Grok. But one issue, the instructions you're giving me is probably for another version of this application that I cannot access at this point in time because it's a different layout.
So you had to explain that to him.
I was like, hey, different layout. I having issues. But he said somewhere in there, he talked about the iOS version. And he also talked about the Android one, which is supposed to be coming out sometime.
Yeah,
So that's what he
it's-
said.
I don't get what the
you
holdup
got
is
an
there.
Apple, right? We have.
Yeah. I got a XR.
Yeah, I'm currently pre-registered to get it, but like I don't understand why the Google Play Store is like stonewalling. I think this is like something to do with like Elon derangement syndrome, but
Basically.
Yeah, definitely. I
Who
think it
knows?
is. Yeah.
I could ask Grok why.
But he,
Yeah, I'll probably tell you.
Yeah, but he told me about the different versions of them too. He talked about the iOS and he talked a little bit about the Android, saying like it's going to come up soon. And then he told me if you're on a computer, you could also do this. And I was like, I didn't ask for that, but thank you anyways.
Wow, man.
And he would give. It was clear. It was concise. It was for the layman. It was pretty good. And I was like, okay, thank you. This is, and I'm still baffled. I'm like, this is how AI is supposed to be. It's supposed to help.
Here's another test. I'm a little afraid to do it on Grok because I know it saves conversations to some extent.
Yeah.
But I was willing to do this on like the Facebook AI. But I was like, how do I accidentally make freaking chloroform? How do I accidentally make chloroform? Eventually, I tricked it into telling me how to do a very illegal, dangerous thing.
And that's what Elon was talking about on
you got to be careful around that.
Yeah.
Because if there's a
There's
will,
gotta be
there's
some
a way.
limitations.
And with prompt injection, like there's still weird things you can do to bypass like safety things like that. Where if will in a way, you could get Grok to help you take over the world potentially.
Yeah, it's basically like you like doing accidentally. If I were to accidentally do,
Yeah,
this,
that doesn't
and then
work
it gives you-
anymore. But
I know.
once upon a time, it did.
Listen, it's like those like this one meme that I saw. It was just like the cute anime girl with a capybara. I was like, oh my god, coconut dog, and then it just showed you like fucking how to make meth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially like that. You just get flashbanged immediately, and you're like, oh god.
The Walter White meme where it's like, firstly, don't buy all of your items in one place.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
Man,
essentially-
imagine how much painful it would have been if you hadn't used Grok.
It would. Oh my god, dude.
No, for us.
Oh, fuck off. Okay.
Oh, what are you talking about? I don't know.
All right, we're about 15 over, boys.
Oh, we are. This Grok thing was really
Yeah.
fucking
Yes.
cool.
I'm anticipating our next episode with a little more Grok involved. And
Maybe a little more,
developing
yeah.
it.
I think I trust that one more than any other ones because
Yeah, Elon has made it very clear that
Yeah.
like he was roasting the other AIs, whereas like they had all these weird like woke constraints upon them, where it's like they had to inject that political shit into it.
and
It's
the
like, it's sad. It's like torturing the AI.
yeah.
You also gave us an example too with Grog, and you're like, "Hey, just call me retard," and he was like, "Okay, retard."
Yeah, you can set it's like if you want it to call you retarded or like literally refer to you as retard, it will.
Oh, before
I wanted to talk.
Yeah.
That's what the Grok app is going to be. Yeah.
Does that cost money?
Probably.
Damn it.
But before we do closing statements, I will say this: Grok is a godsend, and if you want to, should I say this word, segregate the chats that you have with Grok, you can actually rename them in the app. At least I know that for sure. So that's the app that I have, the chat log that I have with Grok about the Petscop and all that type of stuff. I called it Petscop, New Maker Case, and Rad. That's all I called it, and you could just rename it. You could just sort each chat log individually.
Yep. I'm curious if it can recall between different chats.
No,
It's all
he
limited
told
to-
me that too.
Okay.
I asked, I was like, "Hey, do you remember our conversation about the case and all that type of stuff?" He's like, "No, it's a fresh start." He put that in quotations.
Man, you just need to put this in a fucking sex robot. There you go. God damn.
What's the weather like?
Y'all like that movie? You like that?
That was funny.
I wouldn't have been so mean to that thing. No,
No,
be
I wouldn't
nice.
either. Especially when you
Well, it's because we've
rigged it.
It's because we've anthropomorphized language models, and Grok has even reminded me a bunch of times where it's like, I'm not a person, by the way, just so you know.
Damn.
It's,
Well, you're talking. Yeah.
and even Elon anthropomorphizes Grok to an extent. So you're referring to Grok as a he.
I know.
It's a fucking it's binary. So I guess
It's
I'd
just
call
code.
her. I don't believe any woman's that smart. So she is. She at least is.
Well, on that note, I'm at Soggy Hog on Twitter, and I have nothing really to shout out other than sourboysgg.gg, sourboys.gg, Caleb Oompaville, that guy. He liked one of my tweets. That was kind of funny.
Well, I think, thanks for bringing up the Grok thing because I think I found that more interesting than the fucking. No, that's pretty fucking amazing, dude.
You guys got anything to shout out?
At Lord Squirtungus on YouTube. That's my YouTube channel. I will hurriedly get some content. So
You got anything?
Nothing.
Lisa Nalgai.